Okay, yeah, we live. There we go.
There we are.
Big chill town. What's going on, man? How you doing today?
Big Ox, what's up, brother? We back in effect. Show number 2. We here. We doing it. We in the middle of basketball season. I think this is one of the better times of the year. You know, the trade deadline is tomorrow. We've already had fireworks as it is. So yeah, man, we doing it. Absolutely.
Matter of fact, well, we was on yesterday. We was on together, obviously on the panel, but yesterday was a little haywire, so we didn't really get to talk too much about that. You didn't. You got anything really? Like, well, how do you feel about that Kyrie move and all that?
I think it was a win-win for Dallas more than anything. And the reason why I think it was a win-win is because, number one, they now give Luka a perimeter scorer that he needs. And not just a perimeter scorer, just a dude that he could go to for buckets where he can play off the basketball. Because prior to that, he was the entire offense, and he was responsible for everybody getting buckets, setting up everybody to get shots. He's responsible for everybody else's offense, and that wears on a player. I don't care how young you are, that wears on a guy, and eventually he's going to wear down, especially when you get to the playoffs. You see guys like James Harden, who is pounding the basketball in front of him constantly. Eventually, when they get to the playoffs, that stuff is not as difficult to guard as opposed to when the basketball is moving. When the ball is moving and you got another guy that you could go to, now things become less difficult. I think Jason Kidd is going to implement some where these two dudes can work off of each other. It looks to me, Ox, more like a better version of Jalen Brunson, right? So now he's a dude that Kyrie Irving can get the basketball and he can go. The thing that I'm concerned with the most is how this is going to play with Luka, because now we get an opportunity to see if Luka can play off the basketball, if he can share the basketball and be something else without the basketball, as opposed to everything just being him. So I'm really interested to see in that. That's first of all. This is also a win-win for Dallas, because if they end up winning it and Irv walks, number one, they got a lot of money. Number two, Dallas becomes very attractive now, because Luka has now shown he can play with another scorer. He can play off the ball. He's willing to get off the basketball. So now Dallas looks really good in terms of that. And if it doesn't, and they don't win it, well, at least what we're doing is we're showing Luka that we're trying.
Yeah. Well, so which way are you leaning though? Do you think that Luka can play with Kyrie, or Kyrie can play with Luka? Like, what do you think?
Well, the thing is he played with Jalen Brunson, and he was really good with Jalen Brunson.
It's a fact.
The only reason why Jalen Brunson left is because of the money. He went to play with the New York Knicks because they offered a better contract. So I can appreciate that all day. So I'm interested to see how he plays with Kyrie Irving and how this dynamic works. Now, we all know that Kyrie Irving, as a basketball player, I don't think his talent is matched, right? But he can be problematic, right? He can be aloof, right? He can be unreliable in some instances. So with that being said, how much is that going to factor in how these guys coexist? So I think it can work for the short term. I don't think this is something that we're looking at over the next 3 or 4 years, though. No.
Okay. So we spoke about Dallas, spoke about Kyrie, spoke about Luka. Yeah. What about the adverse effect with the Nets? What does this do for the Nets? Because so Markieff, they lose Markieff, they lose Kyrie, they gain Dorian Finney-Smith, and they gain Spencer Dinwiddie.
Correct.
What does this do for the Nets? What does this do for Kevin Durant? Is Kevin Durant tired of it, or what?
I'm glad you brought up Kevin Durant. So let's start with what this does for the Nets. So moving Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris off the books, that's $38 million that they take off the books. And taking in Spencer Dinwiddie and Finney-Smith's contract, that's $32 million. So that saves them a little over $6 million. Now, it also does is it drops their tax bill. Right. So instead of them paying $122 million, now they got $117. So they save another $12 million. So just off this trade alone, they save $18 million. Right. That doesn't include tax exemptions and all of that other stuff. But that's just on the surface. Now, what it also does is it bows the question, what is Kevin Durant still doing on this roster? Because I'm looking at this roster and I'm thinking to myself, why did these guys get together? These guys got together to win the NBA championship. Kevin Durant didn't come to Brooklyn for stats. Kevin Durant didn't come to Brooklyn just to get buckets. He could have stayed in Golden State for that. He could have stayed in Oklahoma City for that, right? Him and Kyrie Irving came together because the logic on Kevin Durant was he jumped on a super team and he couldn't lead a team to the NBA championship by himself. So he gets on with Kyrie Irving to prove that I can be the man and take a team to the NBA championship without the assistance of another Steph Curry or somebody like that. Well, only except that hasn't happened. In the 3.5 years that these guys have been together, it's been a bevy of injuries, inconsistency, and underperformances. And it's been a disaster. So I'm trying to make sense in why Kevin Durant is still on this roster, because if Irv is gone, this is a failed project. Because if you look at that roster, Big Ox, you got, if you look at that roster today, Spencer Dinwiddie at the 1, Finney Smith at the 2, KD, Royce O'Neal, Claxton, with Cam Thomas, who I love, by the way, Cam Thomas, Curry, Joe Harris, Wannabe. So you got a bunch of TJ Warren, him too. You got a bunch of B and C guys. Can this team, as good as the Eastern Conference is with KD, can this team win the Eastern Conference championship? I don't see
it. I don't see it either.
And you're not in the minority, neither, Big Ox. The fact that you don't see it, you are not in the minority. So with that being said, if we can't win with what the goal was, which was to win, why is KD still on this roster?
That's a big question. So when you say that, why is KD on this roster? Is that a question directed to the Nets organization, or is that a question directed to Kevin Durant? Like, what are you still doing there? Are you not getting your way out of there? Like, are you not speaking to your agent to tell him, like, yo, we gotta go? Or are you saying that to Joe Tsai and the fellas that's in charge in Brooklyn? Are you telling them, like, what are y'all doing? Or
well, here's the thing, Ox. If I'm not mistaken, did he not ask out last summer? He asked out. He already asked out. So the ball is now in Joe Tsai's court. It's no longer in KD's court. You already moved off Irv. You're not going to win with him. And please don't tell me that because of Kevin Durant, it's going to boost ticket sales. These guys are 15th in the league in attendance. You're already taking a bath at the gate. So let's dead that logic, right? So if that's the case, Kevin Durant already asked out last summer. You didn't honor his trade request, and you kept him. And the same thing that happened the year before is now happening again, where he got hurt and you guys went from second and you started floundering. So now we're in a position where you're probably at best a second round exit, because that means that you're going to have to see Philadelphia, you're going to have to see Milwaukee, or you're going to have to see Boston in the second round. So if you're going to have to see these three teams, Ox, I don't think that they can beat any of those teams in a 7-game series. So once again, the goal hasn't been met, which is to win the NBA championship. KD already asked out. You can get back those picks that you gave up when you gave up James Harden, because last I checked, Ox, I think it was 7 ones that they had to give up for James Harden.
They gave all those to Houston, or
they gave all of those to Houston. They gave all of those. They all went to Houston. It was the 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26. I think it was 6 or 7 ones that they had to give up. In addition to Jared Allen and Karis LeVert. Then you trade James Harden to Philadelphia and get Ben Simmons. So you get some of those picks back, right? So now if you move off Kevin Durant, which I think New Orleans is a great place, because if you ask for Brandon Ingram, not Brandon Roy, I'm sorry. If you ask for Brandon Ingram and you ask for Herb Jones and 3 ones, at least I could salvage some of those picks back, and then we could start over. Because again, this has been a failed project. So this isn't me talking to KD. KD already asked out.
Yeah, and that's not a bad starting point with Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, and some picks. So we already got a super chat in here, kind of on topic of what we're saying. Obviously, a pimp named Slickback.
What up, pimpin'? What up, pimpin'?
I don't see us winning the title, but why is KD still on the roster, sir? The Nets' job is to get the best deal. Sorry to the player stands, but the Nets have a duty to get the best offer. Do you think they got the best offer? Or?
I'm 100% confident that they had gotten some calls. You're never going to get when you're talking about a star like Kevin Durant. If you really, it's not revisionist history. It's history, period. Whenever you trade an A player, you're probably not going to get an A player back. So if you trade Kevin Durant, don't think for 1 second that you're going to get Giannis or you're going to get an A player. Now, I will tell you this. I think that Toronto deal still looks good if that's on the table. If you're asking for Scotty Barnes and a couple of ones, I think that deal looks great, because I think that the Toronto Raptors are now better with Kevin Durant and Siakam and Fred VanVleet, who I'm not a big fan of, but I think that Kevin Durant does make them better, right? So with that being said, I'm sure that they've gotten some calls and some good offers for Kevin Durant. Every team in the league, if Kevin Durant is on the block, is calling. And that includes Milwaukee. That includes Boston. That includes every team in the league. There's no way Kevin Durant is on the block and only 3 or 4 teams are calling. Everybody is calling.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Let me see. Got one more super chat up here. This is kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier on the player's choice this morning. So let me see. Let me show it real quick. Famous Husky wants to know, OG, would Kobe be 1 through 5 if he three-peated 08, 09, and 2010, basically? So basically all he's saying is if he just would have won that 08 championship, because he won 9 and 10. So
right. I think we would be having a different
top 5.
I think we're having a different conversation about him. I don't know if he's top 5, but I do think we're having a different conversation about him. Because, like I said, the majority of the people that I talk to that are realistic, I mean, they got Kobe anywhere between 7 and 12. I haven't really spoken to a lot of people that have him like 3 or no. I don't have a lot of people that I've spoken to. But for him to win the NBA championship and back-to-back seasons and win the league MVP and win the Finals MVP and back-to-back seasons, it'll be pretty difficult to not have that conversation about. Plus, already winning another 3-peat previous to that, and him being a catalyst to that, I think that we would be having a different conversation about him, no doubt.
Okay, well, we got one more super chat in here from my man Chester Henderson.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
25-year-old Nets fan. Raptors over the summer only offered OG Gary. Is that GTR is Gary Trent? Yep. Gary Trent and 2 first rounds for KD. I'm not trading KD unless I get a premium young player like Barnes. By the way, Chilltown, Cam Thomas is special. I love that kid.
I've been on the Cam Thomas train for quite some time. If you've heard anything that I've said about him, I feel like he's wasting away in Brooklyn. It's just the last 5 games of the season. The last 5 games, I think he's averaging 35 a game on 30 minutes. The fact that he's now starting to play, up until this point, he hasn't played that much. And I didn't understand why. Now, again, I understand the idea of getting a premium young player because, again, it's Kevin Durant. Even though he's on the other side, of who he used to be, the goods are still there, right? Sure. The goods are still there. It's not like even though he's slowing down, his game is suffering because of that. No, KD still got the goods. Now, the question is who is willing to part with a young star in order to win now? Toronto, I'm sure, is willing. Now, I think that if you could pry away Scotty Barnes in order to get Kevin Durant, I don't think the Nets say no to that. I don't.
Yeah, I mean the Nets. They made it clear earlier that Scotty's not on the table.
Right.
Well, I'm not sure. They might have changed their mind. I'm not sure. Right. But
now I'll tell you this, Big Ox, and you're gonna kill me for this, but I love him in Sacramento. I'm putting it out there.
KD?
I love him in Sacramento.
I mean,
I'm putting it out there. If I'm Sacramento, listen, Fox and Sabonis aren't available. Whoever else you want, come on in. Yeah, and picks are available also. Whoever else you want, knock yourself out. And picks are available.
I wouldn't be mad at that because I think just like how Tyrese did for us, being as good as he was to get us DeMontis, I think Keegan Murray is good enough so you could put him as the centerpiece of a package to get Kevin Durant. I could see that.
And I think he gives you guys a legit shot to go deep into the playoffs. Because now you had that.
Oh, we're the favorites. We're the favorites with Kevin Durant.
Because now you got that guy who is number 1, he's buckets. Number 2, he's a closer.
Right.
And number 3, the other guys you got, Sabonis, glass cleaner. Fox, great transition player, distributor, scorer. So now it's just a matter of, do we have the other stuff in order to win? And what would you have to give up in order to get KD? Right. I love him in Sacramento.
So what is it about Sacramento that makes you, since we're talking about the Kings, I'm always here for one of these conversations. What is it about Sacramento, the Kings, that's desirable to Kevin Durant, though?
Well, I think that they are a piece away from really, just like New Orleans I felt like New Orleans is a lead guard away from really challenging in the Western Conference. I feel like Sacramento is one legit piece away from really challenging in the Western Conference, where if you had KD on that roster, now you can move Sabonis to be a legit number 3, right? Yeah. You can move Fox to be in that primary ball handler and having a guy that he can go to, kind of like Luka with Kyrie Irving, a guy that he can go to and rely on to get him buckets where he doesn't have to shoulder the load as much as he has to. Plus, you got a bunch of other guys on that roster, man, that are dirty. I'm a big Rashawn Holmes fan. I think he's a gem. I think he's a gem on that roster. And I think that if I'm a playoff contender and I'm looking for a dirty work guy, I'm calling up Sacramento and I'm asking for him because I love him in Miami, right? I love him in Boston. I love him on a team where he could give me a solid 15, 20 minutes of dirty work. He's a guy that I'm definitely looking for. You already know how I feel. You already know how I feel about Keegan Murray. I think he's one of the better rookies in the game. I think that he's also a gem. Harrison Barnes is the pro of all pros. He's the guy that's keeping us steady, right? He's the guy that's keeping us he's the guy that's keeping us focused. He's the guy that's keeping us together. Stealing Herter the way you guys did. I just think that this Sacramento team, I don't think that they are that far away. I think they on the doorstep are really challenging. And if you had to give up some of your core, and when I say some of your core, I don't mean Fox and Sabonis, but maybe Harrison Barnes and a couple of ones and something else for Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant pushes you guys to the top of the Western Conference.
I think it would have to be Keegan and Harrison, which with this is the end of his contract. Harrison's anyway. I don't see him re-signing with us unless we do something drastic or pay him more than we really can because we have to pay DeMontis soon. So that's not a bad idea. Matter of fact, we might want to start that petition because if you ask me, you bring Kevin Durant to Sac, it's bad.
It's real bad.
Actually, a pimp named Slickback, he tapped back in and he agrees with us. I would do that as a Nets fan. I like some of the Kings' young players. Add 3 to 4 picks and we're good. Works for me. Never thought about that.
And you starting over anyway in Brooklyn. So because you starting over, right now you have a core of young players that you can start over with. And let me tell you something about New York. Contrary to popular belief and how busy New York is and how tough of a town it is, New York is very much a basketball city. And if you let these people know we're starting over and we're starting over with this and this, they will get behind you.
Yeah,
they will get behind you. Instead, the reason why the Knicks were such a debacle for years because they were selling hope. Not hope. I'm sorry. What they were selling false dreams. We're going to make the playoffs this year. We're going to make the playoffs this year. You don't have a franchise player. Not only do you not have a franchise player, you don't even have a number 2, and you're selling the playoffs instead of we got this guy here, we got this guy here, and this is who we starting over with. This is who we're going to build with. If Brooklyn were to do that and make it clear that Cam Thomas is a cornerstone of what we're doing, right? If Cam Thomas is a cornerstone of what we're doing, if Claxton is a cornerstone of what we're doing, and we're building our unit with this, these Brooklyn fans will get behind them if they were going to build it like that, as opposed to selling false dreams that, we trying to win the NBA championship. Y'all not serious. No, y'all not.
Well, you see a pimp named Slickback in this here super chat. This is a prime example of what we do on this show. He says it works for me. Never thought about that. So what I want you guys to understand about this Chill with Chill show is that this is an educational platform. Chill is here to teach, here to educate. So y'all tap in, keep tapping in, ask some questions, get that dialogue going because that's what we're here to do.
Word.
So now that we got to those super chats, I want to transition a little bit, even a little bit away from basketball. Chill, I know that you are a 49ers fan. So I just want to ask you a question about that. How did you become a Niners fan?
Well, my mother, when I was a kid, was a big I come from a Pittsburgh Steeler background. My uncle was a Pittsburgh Steeler fan. My mother she had a crush on Mean Joe Green. My other uncle, he was a Giants fan. My father, on the other hand, he was a 49er fan. And I asked him one day, I was like, Pops, who was your team? He was like, the 49ers. I was like, who? He was like, the 49ers. Yeah. And I was like, who is that? He was like, oh, we garbage right now. But next, we just got this guy in the draft from Notre Dame named Joe Montana. He's a quarterback, and he's real good. So this is who I'm riding with. I was like, all right, Pops, I'm about to start watching your team. And I started watching his team, and I got down with the 49ers, and I've been down with them ever since, man.
Yeah. Is Joe Montana the GOAT?
I think Tom Brady surpassed him, but I think he was the GOAT.
Okay.
I think he was the best winning quarterback. Joe Cool had a way about when the game got out of control, he looked like he was at his calmest. Yeah, I've never seen a quarterback like that ever.
So I don't know if you ever tap in with the Players' Choice Gridiron. Shout out Gridiron. Shout out Fluent, Dub, J Rob, all the fellas. Bama. Shout out Gridiron. I don't know if you are aware of this, but just a couple of days ago there was an episode, And there was a narrative that Joe Montana is not as good as we say he is.
Yes, he is. And not only is he as good as we say he is, these guys are saying that based on what's going on in today's game.
Mm-hmm.
They're not saying that based on how the quarterback was treated back then. They're not talking about this from the aspect of it was a running game.
Right.
The offense was tailored around the running back. The offense was tailored around Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, the guy who was going to run for you for 10 years, and he opened up the offense. This was during an era where if you threw for 3,500 yards, you was slinging it. Like you throw for 3,500 yards today, you're average. You're average to a below average quarterback who can't really be touched. You can't get knocked down. Not only can you not get knocked down, the offense is so much more advanced today than what it was. And so I'm trying to imagine a guy like Joe Montana playing in a wide open offense with Jerry Rice and with John Taylor today. I mean, those 3,000 yard seasons, those 3,500 yard seasons with Joe Montana, those are easily 5,500 yard seasons. Mm-hmm. No doubt about that. Especially on the strength that he can't be touched like he was touched back then, where he can't be knocked out, where he can't be pushed over, where there's much more roughing the quarterback, like it is today with Tom Brady. Joe Montana would be fantastic in this era. Him, Warren Moon, I think those guys they'd be fantastic in today's game, no doubt.
Well, since we're talking about football anyway, as everybody's aware, the Super Bowl is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What does the Super Bowl mean for each of these teams? Like, what does the Super Bowl mean for the Chiefs, and what does the Super Bowl mean for the Eagles? As well as that, what does it mean for each individual quarterback? Is it more important for Patrick Mahomes, or is it more important for Jalen Hurts? Like, what is the impact of this?
I tell you what, Ox. I think it's more important for Patrick Mahomes, and here's why. Excuse me. Patrick Mahomes is constantly in the conversation of top 5 quarterback, right? In terms of a talent, I can't say that I've seen a better talent than him. And I've seen some talented quarterbacks, Montana, Aaron Rodgers, Drew. I've seen some talented quarterbacks, but from a talent standpoint, I think he's at the top of the list. However, the standard for greatness, as we all know, is winning. So this guy has been in the AFC Championship 5 times, right? 5 times over the last. He's been in the league 6 years. He's been in the AFC Championship 5 times and been in the bowl game. This is his 3rd time. So if he were to lose this, now we're talking about a dude who, instead of being 2-1, not only does he lose this to a younger quarterback, he also lost to the GOAT in Tom Brady. And he's now 1-2. I think we're having a completely different conversation about Patrick Mahomes than we would if he won. Philadelphia, on the other hand, they have their quarterback. And I think that that's been established now, that Jalen Hurts is their guy. Does it mean more for him to win? I don't think it means more for him to win than it does Patrick Mahomes, considering where he is in the hierarchy of quarterbacks. I think Jalen Hurts is a guy who's just getting started, because we really weren't sure who he was initially, but we're becoming more familiar with who he is today.
Right on. Do you have a prediction and a score? Let's predict the winner and predict the score.
I'm a Big Ox. I'm an NFC guy. Not only my NFC guy, I always felt better when my team lost to the champ. So I gotta go. I gotta go with the Eagles, because at minimum I can say, yo, we lost to the champ. As opposed to if they get steamrolled by Kansas City, which I don't think is going to happen. But I just think it looks better. And I look at that. I look at Philadelphia's team. I look at what they have on the edge, and I look at what I think they're going to, just like Kansas City utilizes Kelsey. I think that they're going to utilize Goddard. I can't get his last name down. But the tight end. I think that they're going to utilize him a lot more than they have in the past, because I think that what he does is he creates a huge mismatch for their linebacker core. And because he creates that kind of mismatch, that's going to open up the edges even more for guys like Devontae Smith and AJ. So I think that their offense is going to overpower them, and I think they can handle Kansas City. I think they beat them. I think I had them 34-29.
34-20. Okay. That's fair. That sounds exciting. I can't wait. Wait. Let's see what we do. So chat, on behalf of all Players Choice family, I want to say, we appreciate the love. Keep tapping in. The only requirement is that you like the video. Go ahead and smash that like button. Get in there and push that like. Let's get the likes up, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Absolutely.
So look, I'm getting ready to drop the link here in probably about, I would say, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, because we all know what happened last night. You know, that's what we're all here for. Let's let the cat out the bag. Let's stop pretending. We know there's only one reason that y'all here on this show. We're here to talk about that man, Mr. King James, who chilled. I know you already had him to go. There's been some backlash over the past couple months. You know, people have been having smoke with you about having him to go. But hey, the man's the leading scorer of all time. I mean, does that solidify how you feel about Bron being the GOAT? Does that solidify it? Is there any argument against? Is there even a possible argument that anybody can make with you now that LeBron is not the GOAT? Is it even? Are you hearing it, or are you willing to debate that, or what?
Of course, there's going to be an argument. You know, he's 4-6 in the NBA Finals, and he came up short in the 2011 Finals, and he didn't. He had all of these trades. There's going to be questions like that. He wasn't the defensive player that this guy was. You know, he wasn't the scorer that this guy was. Of course, that's the case. And of course, there are going to be people who bring up arguments like that. But for a guy to have for a guy who has done what he's done and sustained it for as long as he's sustained it and been this great for as long as he's been this great, him being the all-time leading scorer, all that does for me is just add to the legacy. Right. So I already felt the way I did about him before he did this. And him breaking the all-time scoring record does not make me say, yo, it's official now. Well, because it wasn't official when Jabbar was the all-time scoring leader. Right. It wasn't official when Chamberlain was it wasn't official because you're the all-time scoring leader, that you're the best player ever. No, James has done a multitude of things. The fact that James, everything that he's done and his opportunities that were in front of him to fold, Big Ox. He had an opportunity to fold in 2008 when they lost in Game 7 to the Boston Celtics. Man, I don't think I'm good enough. He had an opportunity to fold in 2009 when they lost to Orlando, when he went almost 40, 10, and 10, but he didn't. He definitely had an opportunity in 2011 to fold up the tent when he was garbage in that series. He could have folded up. Instead, he came back better and won the MVP in back-to-back seasons and won the NBA championship in back-to-back seasons. In 2015, when he took that team that he lost Kevin Love and he lost Kyrie Irving in the playoffs, when he took them to the NBA Finals, he could have and lost. He could have folded up right there. When they were down 3-1, he could have folded, and he didn't. He kept coming back. He kept coming back. And in 2018, when that roster was flipped, twice, not once, Ox, but twice. In the summertime, 7 new players. And then in the trade deadline in 2018, 5 new players, 12 new players. There would have been nobody who would have held it against him when he had 12 different guys on the roster in a calendar year if they didn't win. But he still took that team, threw them on his back, took them to the NBA Finals. He could have folded there, but he didn't. So he had plenty of opportunity to fold. And the resilience of this guy, not only the resilience of this guy, how he just does things on a basketball court and how he improved every year. I already felt like this about him years ago. So the fact that he did this now, all this does is just add to how awesome he's already been.
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of people in here dropping different years on you, Chill.
Right, 2007, he could have folded. 2011.
Some people are saying that he technically did fold. In
2011, if he folded, why did he come back the next year and win the league MVP? And then win the NBA championship? Why did he come back the year after that and have an even better season and win the NBA championship and win the league MVP and win the finals MVP and finish second in the league in defensive player of the year for the second time in 4 years? Why did he do that? In 2007, why didn't he just fold up after they went to the NBA finals? Why did he come back better, right? After getting with Kobe Bryant and understanding, okay, I'm working, but once I get with this dude and I see what the work really looks like, okay, this is what the work really looks like. So why does he get with this dude? And after he gets with him, wins the league MVP twice, right? So he could have folded after all of those times, but he didn't. He came back better. And this is evidence of a great player who has an opportunity to roll over, and he didn't. He just came back better. That's why I felt like years ago, this doesn't do anything for me. Not that it's not a great accomplishment, because to be honest with you, Big Ox, I don't think in my lifetime I'm gonna see this again. So it's not that this isn't a great accomplishment. I think this is a fantastic accomplishment, but it doesn't move the needle in terms of me saying this solidifies him as the GOAT. I already felt like that about him anyway. All this is doing is just adding to the legacy.
Okay. So do you have anything else to say about last night's performance, last night's game?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, Big Ox. The Lakers suck.
Yeah,
I think that they're the worst team in the league in terms of a talent standpoint. I think that they are garbage, and the fact that this team plays the way it does, the way it's constructed, where you got a 38-year-old who has to get 36 points in order for you guys to be in a game, let alone win it. The fact that he has to do what he has to do in order for that to be a contest says everything to where this team is. Who are we running the offense through? They were the most effective when they were running the offense through Anthony Davis. They were the most effective when Russ was coming off the bench and Russ was speeding up the game, getting Anthony Davis involved, getting Lonnie Walker involved, getting Austin Reeves involved. They were the most effective when that was going on, when Anthony Davis was playing in the mid-range. But instead, he looked slow last night. He looked disinterested last night. Russell Westbrook turning the basketball over at not an alarming rate, but more like a usual rate. Right? Dennis Schroeder can't make an open shot. This team, the way it's constructed, they have to play a certain way, and they don't. And they look like, to be honest with you, for lack of a better term, they look like the Keystone Cops, where these dudes are just bumping into each other, and they just look like they're all over the place.
So what's first? Okay, so this is a couple parts to this question, because earlier today, this morning, somebody came and said that it's not Rob Pelinka's fault. It's Jeannie Buss's fault. Some people blame LeBron, call him le GM. You've heard all the slander. I have. Some people say it's Bron's fault. Some people say it's Russ's fault. Some people say it's Darvin Ham, Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss. I mean, what's going on in La La Land? Like, what's the reason for this? You basically call it a mockery. So what is going on?
I think it's a combination of a bunch of things. Number one, James did ask for Anthony Davis, and he bet on Anthony Davis. And the downside to this, ironically, Ox, is it was working because they won the NBA championship, right? Yeah. So the plan was to play off of Anthony Davis. That's why he led the league in assists, right? So we're going to get Anthony Davis back, and this dude is going to extend my career, and I'm not going to have to do what I'm doing now, only except Anthony Davis broke down. James has to get back to the dominant space. Now, also, they end up moving off a bunch of different guys that they didn't have to get Russell Westbrook. So to move off of Kuzma, to move off of KCP, right? To let Alex Caruso, which I'm still having such a difficult time with that, to let Alex Caruso walk out the front door for nothing, to let Malik Monk, who I'm a big fan of up in Sacramento, to let him just walk out the front door. Right. I think that's a travesty, not just for James, but to the front office on how they handle this thing. And then they expect these guys to get back to what they expect these guys to get back to a championship level, and this team isn't constructed to be that way. So I think that there's blame everywhere, because James is also one of the guys who thumbed up Russell Westbrook when I didn't like that trade in the beginning. I thought, number one, you were giving up too much to get him, and number two, I didn't like the fit. But I thought that with James, that this could be something that he could figure out, because I've seen him figure out so many other things in the past. So I'm thinking to myself, he could figure this out too. And it just wasn't a good fit. And in the process of it not being a good fit, this team just looks discombobulated. And I think that there's enough blame to go around.
Definitely. Y'all, let's get these likes up so I can shoot that link. I'm gonna shoot the link. Let's get the likes up. Likes up. In the meantime, I'm gonna run through a couple of these super chats real quick. And I'm going to shoot the link out here in a couple minutes. Let's get the likes up. So, my man, TROY, the righteous obeys Yah.
Yep.
Why do you think cats overrate Kobe?
Because he ain't around no more, which sucks. And it really sucks to me, because the love that he gets now, I would have really loved for him to get that when he was around. Yeah. Because he needed that. He needed to hear how awesome he really was, instead of the hate and the disdain that people had for him when he was around. He needed to hear how awesome he was, and he wasn't hearing it nearly as much. And now that he's gone, the fact that this love is here, it really boils my blood, because I'm thinking to myself, where were you guys at when he was here? Because he needed that love, because he was that awesome. He was.
You know, they say you don't know what you have till it's gone.
Facts.
You know, we had the treasure right in front of us, and we just didn't treasure it properly. Well, we got another one from my man Anton Ox W host. Appreciate that, my guy. Can I get y'all top 5 of this era?
Mm-hmm.
You want to go ahead first, Chip?
James, KD. Nope. James, Curry, KD, Harden. I want to say Damian Lillard because I think that he was better than Russ, man. I do. I think that he was better than Russ. Even though Russ won the league MVP and he led the league in scoring, Damian Lillard as a lead guard who has been a lead guard from day one, and he took that team to the playoffs every year that he was healthy, took that team to the playoffs and won numerous playoff series and outplayed Russell Westbrook the way he outplayed him. I think Damian Lillard is a top 5 player of this era. I do.
Yeah. For me personally, it was pretty similar to that. I would have LeBron, Curry, Kawhi, KD, and you know what? Yeah, thanks for the help in the chat. Giannis, I'm tripping. I'm gonna go Giannis over Dame and Harden.
Well, here's the thing, though, Anton, because Giannis just got nice. Like Dame is in year 11 now, right? Giannis just got nice over the last 5 years, right? Over the last 5 years, Dame for a decade was doing that sort of stuff. Now, is Giannis the best? Is Giannis the top 5 player of this era? Which era are we talking about? I mean, because Dame showed up in 2012, right? So I think that is Dame on the. I think that Giannis is a better player, no doubt about that. I will not argue that. But when I think about Giannis of this era, he's on the other side of the Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard, Steph Curry. He's not of that era. We're going into his era. Like right. I think he's in the Joel Embiid, Joker, him. I think he's in that era. So I think we're in a different era than the era that we just got finished talking about.
Yeah. So I just dropped that link. If you want to come up, make sure you got your cam on.
No doubt.
I'm about to pull up. So we've already discussed a couple things. If you got any questions or any rebuttals to anything Chill has said so far, y'all come up here and ask some questions.
Come through.
Get the smoke off your chest. Don't bottle it up. That's bad. That's bad for you. That causes high blood pressure.
Right, and we don't want that.
You got anything to say? Make sure you get it off your chest.
Let it out, man.
I'm gonna bring up 2 at a time. I see you back. I see you back there, Louis. I'm gonna let you come up by yourself. Let me get Joe Buck and Leaf up here. Let me see what they got. My man Leaf. We all know Leaf. What's up, my guy?
What up?
What up? What up?
Hold on.
What
I'm
up?
gonna bring Joe Buck in too. Joe Buck, what's up with you?
What's good?
Chilling. How you doing, bro?
Joe knows what's going on.
Okay, so Leaf, what's the science, baby? What you got? You got some questions? Man, you got something to get off your chest or what?
Actually, I got some praise to give, man. I have some praise to give to the man of the name of this show. And I have to praise him because he talked it into existence, because I want to talk about a name that you praised about some time ago, probably as early as this season. And his name is Cam Thomas. And I'll be honest with you, man, I didn't see what you was talking about until maybe like a little bit before the Washington game, maybe I say maybe a month ago, but I did not see it foreseeing like this. But I gotta give you a salute to that, man. You was right on the money about Cam Thomas.
Yeah,
when you said he was the all-time leader in when you said he was the all-time leader in SEC scoring, that didn't move me, because I'm thinking to myself, I said SEC, ain't that a football conference? I'm like, oh, whatever. But I gotta give you a salute.
I didn't say he was the all-time leader. He led the SEC in scoring. So as a freshman, he led the SEC in scoring. He's the only freshman since Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf in almost 35 years to do that. Can no other freshman say that they did that except him? Not only that, he's the only SEC, he's the only freshman in the SEC since Mahmoud Abdul to be in the top 5 in the country in scoring. So he was buckets coming into coming into the season. So I'm looking at this dude and I'm thinking to myself, if you look at the guys that went ahead of him, I mean, can you imagine him in Charlotte? Like instead of them taking Book Knight, them taking Cam Thomas and him running in the backcourt with Ball, him running in the backcourt with Ball. Like that's your foundation right there. That's your foundation right there.
I would agree with you, but to elaborate more on his game, I actually like his game as a scorer. He got a little bit of everything. I think he got a little bit too much lift on his shot, which kind of scares me a little bit. Because like it ain't like an old head told me, it's not the going up part, it's the coming down. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is just like he uses a lot of lift in the shot. What is he gonna be like? He's only 21. He's literally fresh out the womb. He's 21 years old. Kid, like braces around his mouth and everything, man. And I'm just looking at him. I'm like, and a lot of people asking me, can he hold Brooklyn afloat at least until Kevin Durant come back or this, that, the third? But I think he can for the most part. I just think like it's all about us finding where we want to go, like where we want to go as far as youth, where we want to go as far as like a combination of youth and veteran players, and with Dorian Finney-Smith and now Dinwiddie. I actually like what we did during the trade before the trade deadline. I'm not too sad about it.
Ox, this is what I'm talking about right here with this dude. So he said, can we hold them afloat until KD get back? So let's take KD out. That means that we building it around Cam Thomas. He gonna get behind Cam. He gonna be like, yo, we got Cam Thomas and we got whoever, and we building our unit. We building our unit with these dudes, as opposed to them selling them something false. Leaf is a prime example of what I'm talking about. If Brooklyn were to get on that page, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Right. That's a fact.
Yeah. Because the thing about the Kyrie and KD experiment, bro, is that what it did is brought the same thing that the Knicks was trying to do for years when they was trying to sign people in the offseason. You remember this, Chill? Come on, like you remember that every offseason they was trying
telling
to
us that this we doing this, we doing that. No, y'all not. There's no foundation. There's nothing.
Y'all see Juicy Banks though. You called it on Cam Thomas. You think he can be the second guy for the Nets? Man. What y'all think? What you think, Gary? What y'all think?
Maybe, man. I mean, he been hooping lately, bro. So who knows? Maybe once he gets his confidence. I mean, he looks like he already has his confidence. So you can definitely have him as a second guy in the Nets behind KD. I think so.
Joe Buck, what you think?
You can just see how raw he is. He's obviously buckets, but I mean, I love Cam Thomas, but some of the shots he was taking late game last night were kind of throwing me off a little bit. Some of the sidestep contested double team shots, but no, he was hooping.
Right.
Yeah.
He was hooping.
For sure.
Yeah,
so,
I
think y'all both tapped in though, Gabe.
Some things going forward, man. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Gabe, Joe Buck, y'all both tapped in. I'm sure y'all didn't tap in to talk about Cam Thomas though.
Nah.
Joe Buck,
yes, y'all did. Yes, they did.
No, we did not, Leaf. You've been spamming Cam Thomas in the chat since the Players' Choice Live started, bro.
Because that's the biggest story. That's why.
That's no way that's the biggest story.
It's not. I was scrolling through Instagram.
3 40-point games at the age of 21. How is that not?
That's fine. I mean, that's fine. We touched down on it though. Yo, Gabe, what's up? What you got?
I was scrolling through Instagram.
Now, ain't it, Gabe? Come on,
let's talk about this. It's most definitely that right now, but let me say this. So I was scrolling through Instagram, and it's kind of ironic how Chill has said the Lakers are like the worst team. So they're in discussions with Utah and Minnesota on a potential three-team trade to send D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley to the Lakers, Russell Westbrook to the Jazz, and Mike Conley to the Timberwolves. So if the Lakers get D'Lo and Malik Beasley, you think is that a bad trade, or is that making their team better?
Terrible.
What you think, Chill?
So we're going to bring in D'Angelo Russell, another ball dominant guard, in addition to James, who is also ball dominant. And we got a big guy in Anthony Davis who needs the basketball, who we should be running the offense through. And we got a bunch of wing guys who we also need to get them involved, like Austin Reeves, like Lonnie Walker. We need to get these guys involved. So we don't have a distributor, right? So not only do we not have a distributor, we bring in another ball dominant guard. And how does this make the Los Angeles Lakers better? It doesn't.
Okay. Joe Buck, what you think
about the trade?
Yeah. Is that something the Lakers should consider?
Yeah. Nah, another ball handler is not what they need. Not at all what they need. And D'Lo is not going to just become a spot-up shooter to help LeBron out and help the Lakers out. He's going to have to have the ball and create. No, that's not. Yeah. I'm a big thumbs down on that.
Okay, so Leaf, I see you came with Cam Thomas. Gabe, you wanted to talk about this trade. Joe Buck, what you jump on for? You got some questions for Chill? You can't. Did you come to learn or did you come to cook? You know, if you get cooked, you learn as well. So
I came to see a different perspective. I've been on Chill Show a couple of times talking about the Celtics, so I got to talk about the Celtics again.
Right.
To be honest, I think I know we got the crazy good record, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But I think, to be honest, I think Naz Reid. If we could get Naz Reid, I think he would be unstoppable. I think that's the one piece we're missing. Is like another. I just think I love Rob, but I think he's too. He can't stretch the baseline like Naz Reid can. And every time I see Naz Reid play, he's just making a play that I think the Celtics could use literally every night.
So you don't want to get rid of Rob. You want to add Naz Reid.
Yeah. Because we obviously need a third big. Like it's glaring. It's glaring.
Right. Because
is the second big Grant Williams? When you say add a big, you need a third big. So you have two. Are the bigs you're talking about Rob Williams and Grant Williams, or Al Horford? I'm sorry, Al Horford. That's my man. My bad.
Yeah,
the guy that I'm thinking about, me and Ox just talked about it. Grant Williams, call up the Sacramento Kings and ask for Richie Holmes. Ask for Rashawn Holmes. He is the dirty work guy that you guys are missing off of your bench. As good as he's every bit of 6'10", every bit of it. Every bit of 6'10", the consummate dirty work guy. Not only the consummate dirty work guy, for a rough and rugged Eastern Conference where you're going to have to deal with Giannis, where you're going to have to deal with Joel Embiid. I think he's perfect for what you guys are doing.
Yeah, you know, the thing about Rashawn Holmes. The thing about Rashawn Holmes, though, Leaf, is that he's a professional. I mean, he had some issues, back in the day. I'm not too sure about the off the court, but as far as on the court goes, he stays ready. There was his minutes dropped drastically when Sabonis came around, but he stayed ready. When Sabonis got hurt, he jumped in and he held it down. But fellas, the thing, our show is a little shorter than Open Gym and all the other shows, so we got to move along.
Before you go, Big Ox, hey Joe, just so you know, you don't need any more buckets. You got plenty of buckets. I don't think you need any more buckets. I think the in-between stuff is what's missing from you guys. That's why I brought up a guy like Rashawn Holmes. I don't think you need any more guys to stretch the floor because you got plenty of buckets.
No, not from the corner in the three, like a little short corner dump off type pass. I don't even think
he can do that. He can do that. He can do that. Sure, he can absolutely do that. So it was good to talk to you, fellas. We appreciate you.
Yeah, y'all stay tapped in. The show is just getting started, y'all. Appreciate y'all for dropping in. Now, you know what I'm saying? Y'all always welcome up here. That's
man.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Before I grab, let me see this last couple super chats real quick.
Yep.
Honcho 2K. Cam Reddish, a good fit in Miami. What you think, Chill? Is that a good fit?
I'm trying to make sense in what the problem is with him, because you have a lot of guys in the NBA who, there could be more than one destination to where they find a home. Pardon me. So Chauncey Billups is a prime example of that, of a guy who he was on 5 different teams before he actually found a home, and he flourished in that. Cam Reddish, it didn't work in Atlanta. It's not working in New York, which I would have thought that it would have worked in New York because he's very similar to what Tibbs is looking for.
Yeah.
In the 6'7", 6'8", stretch 3, point forward that defends, but maybe Cam doesn't defend. But if he comes to Miami, if he doesn't defend, I don't think he's going to fit there neither, because Miami isn't just a team of offense. They do need guys to defend and rebound. I think Cam Reddish is one of the better transition players in the game if he's in a system that'll help him be that. And I think Miami, they have that kind of offense. I'm thinking about him on the defensive side of the basketball. That's why I don't think he's been playing, why he didn't play in Atlanta, and why he didn't play for Nick McMillan in Atlanta, and why he's not playing for Tibbs. I think the problem is on the defensive side of the basketball. And if that's the problem, he's not going to play in Miami neither.
Yeah, that's a fact. Let me get this last one in. From Roland Curtis. No, not that he folded after the moment. LeBron folded in the moment. We're not talking about the year after 2011. We're talking about the Game 6 in which he folded against the Mavericks in 2011.
Right. We are talking, and all of those points that I made that he could have folded after he did what he did. He could have folded right up and went away after all of those performances, right? So you're talking about 2011, which I don't have any rebuttal to. LeBron James in 2011, that was the worst performance that I'd ever seen of him. And because it was the worst performance that I'd ever seen, I think it put a glaring mark on his resume. So if he just folds up and just becomes an okay player, that would have been basically who he was. Only except he didn't do that. He came back better. And Roland, what you want to do, Roland, is you want to talk about him in that moment and go, well, he was terrible in 2011. But what you don't talk about is you don't talk about what Dallas did and how they made him that way. So when he gets on that Miami Heat team and he's not sure how he should be conducting himself, should I be the man? Is this Dwayne Wade's team? Should I be handling things like I was handling it in Cleveland? Or should I be the man here? He wasn't sure about that. Well, what Dallas did was they threw a completely different look at him. And they made him be the guy he was in Cleveland. And because he wasn't sure that he should do that, his game suffered because of that. They put him in situations in the mid-range. They put him in situations in transition where they made him a one-on-one player. Well, if I'm not sure that I should be doing this, then I'm going to falter, which is what he did, which is why the next season when Dwayne Wade told him, hey, my man, listen, in order for us to get to where we got to get to, you got to be that guy, which would explain why he became that guy, because he got that assurance coming into somebody else's house as opposed to, this is my man, and I don't really know how I should be handling this. So
that's a fact. That's a fact. Okay. Let me see. Louis, what's up, bro?
Can't hear you,
You're muted, man. You muted.
Can't hear you.
How you boys doing?
Now we hear you.
All right,
Mike check. Yep. Now you hot.
Nice.
I know you got a couple questions for Chill 10.
I do, man. I'm happy to be up here. Chill, I want to start off by giving you your flowers because I've heard some people say that as far as old head goes, you're the voice of reason. You're the voice of reason for the old heads, and I respect that. Now, I wanted to segue off that. It could be disputed that Stephen A. Smith is the greatest, if not one of the best sports journalists of all time. Mm-hmm. And he recently said, with regards to shows such as Players' Choice, debate shows, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. However, him with his 20 years of experience behind him, not every opinion's valid. So I want to ask you, what validates an opinion, and what makes an opinion respectful up here on Players' Choice Show?
I think the thing that I value the most are facts. So whenever you come with something, whenever I come with something, what I try to do is I try to back up whatever I come with facts. So when I come with facts, now facts can't be disputed. So then when I add whatever I feel is necessary to add to those facts, and then when I add that stuff to it, then it becomes more respectable as opposed to me just talking and making up stuff. So when I'm talking and I'm bringing you facts, what you have, even if it's not me, if it's somebody else, if it's facts, you have no choice but to respect it. But when you also bring reason into it, because I just can't come with facts and there's no context to it. So for example, if I'm talking about Michael Jordan being a 9-time All-League defender and LeBron James being a 6-time All-League defender, and I talk about how, in the 2016-17 season, LeBron James finished 5th in Defensive Player of the Year that year, and he didn't make the All-League defensive team. That's the only time in his career that he never made the All-League defensive team, finishing top 5 in Defensive Player of the Year. Well, that's context to go, well, wait a minute. Well, why didn't he make the All-League defensive team that year? As opposed to, well, Jordan just made the All-League defensive team 9 times and James made it 6 times. There has to be you got to bring facts into it and then reason as well. I think that's the way your opinion gets validated.
All right. Thank you very much. Also, I want to ask you a couple more questions. I myself attended a JUCO before I attended a 4-year, and I believe you also attended a JUCO. Chaplain, is it?
Champlain College.
Champlain College?
Yes.
What do you think you gained going to a JUCO prior to a 4-year, and do you suggest that others should take that route?
Absolutely. If I had a chance to do it again, considering how I came out of high school, I wasn't ready to start at a 4-year university. So to go to a JUCO and play against high-level competition, not only just play against high-level competition, thrive against that competition, it would make you more prepared to play at whatever level you plan on playing at. So I absolutely believe that going to a JUCO works. I mean, it worked for me. No question about it.
Hold on one second, Louis. What's up, Dev? How you doing, bro?
What's up? Doing good. Appreciate you guys for having me.
What up, Dev? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Big August, I just want to give you a couple flowers today. You're doing a good job doing back-to-back shows, hosting. Just want to say you're doing a good job.
Appreciate that, my guy. It's my pleasure. You know what I'm saying? It's a blessing to be up here.
That's Big Ox shit, man.
Yeah, Ox is that dude.
My question is, I just want to, hear out my opinion, how you feel about this. I feel like the champion will come out the Eastern Conference this year, and I believe it'll be either the Celtics, Sixers, or Milwaukee Bucks. And the reason why, I'll be quick. The reason why, because each three of those teams, I believe, have a top 10 player in the league, and I believe those teams constructed top to bottom have a solid 6 guys. They get to defend, have a number 2 guy get buckets, and I do like Nuggets notice, but the West, each team has holes, too many questions and outliers, and then West is just too chaotic right now. Versus the East, those 3 teams have been solid all year, and just want to hear how you feel about that and who you think will be the champ this year potentially, or who you think's coming out both of them.
Chill time. Before you go into that, Dev, let me ask you: do you have a team in the East that you favor, or is it just those certain teams and you're not really sure? Who do you have winning out the East?
In my opinion, I think it's the Celtics here. I think they figured it out. My team, I like 2 teams. I like. They're both kind of the Thunder. We're garbage. That's my favorite team. And Atlanta, we have our clusters, but yeah, I feel like the Celtics, this is the year. Jason Tatum's on another level right now. I love Jaylen Brown's game. That defense, their offense is good. And I think only thing the Celtics probably lacking is like a solid, tall big, because obviously they get through Giannis, or you say Giannis and Embiid. But I do think this year the Celtics year. If not the Celtics, then the Sixers. That's mine.
Well, to answer your question, my man, Big Ox and I disagree because Ox is not an Embiid guy. I am an Embiid guy. Ox is not an Embiid guy. He think he's soft, and there are parts of his game that are soft, no doubt about that. And I think that I think the NBA champion comes out the Eastern Conference. I think it's the Milwaukee Bucks. I can't really see anybody beating them 4 times in a week. But with that being said, when I think about Philadelphia, the point that you made about everything that they have, Philadelphia is going to go as far as Embiid takes them. And that needs to be understood right from the beginning. Big fella, we're going as far as you take us. James Harden, Tobias Harris, Maxey, all these other guys, just do your job. But big fella, we're going as far as you take us. If that means that you got to go 35 and 40 on nights in order for us to win, that's what we're doing, right? So that's the only way that's going to work in Philadelphia. They can't have 22, 21-point nights in the playoffs from him. That's not going to happen. We're going to get on your back, big man, and you're going to take us to the NBA Finals. Now, as far as Milwaukee, just so you know, I think they're 9-0 since Middleton's been back in the lineup. They rolling right now. Not only are they rolling, Giannis has been playing much better. Drew Holiday has been playing much better. This is the group that I thought I was going to see before the season started. I just can't see anybody beating them with Giannis 4 times in a week, because at the end of the day, when you look at a group, and you look at everything that you have, I have. So what is it going to come down to? My best player is better than your best player. And I think that at the end of the day, when I look at Boston, I think that Giannis is better than Jason Tatum, and that's what it's going to come down to. And I think that I think that he handles him in that series. But I do think, to your point, the 3 best teams in the NBA, you can make an argument that they're in the Eastern Conference.
That's fair. Yo, real quick, Dev. So, Deli Dale, happy to have you up here. I know you probably got an agenda, or you had something you wanted to say. Louis, I know you have one more question, but pertaining to what Dev was saying, do either of y'all got anything to add to that about the favorites coming out the East? What you think, Deli Dale? Who you got? Is the East holding it down right now, or can the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, the Kings, New Orleans, Clippers? What's going on? How you feel about it?
Nah, the East definitely holding it down right now. I got the Celtics at this point. At this point of the season, I got the Celtics coming out. It hurts me because I hate the Celtics, but
we're coming out the East or out the West?
Yeah, is the championship coming out of the East? Is the East the favorite to win it?
Yeah, I believe so this year. Some of the big dogs in the West just really haven't been doing it this year. They're making Sacramento look good, getting excited. You know what I mean? People be lighting that meme. hey, what's just one last question, if I may? I haven't had the pleasure, Jermaine, of seeing you play basketball. So if you would, for myself and the others watching at home, you mind telling us 3 players playing, dead, alive, whatever it may be, 3 players whose skill set combined would create Jermaine in his
Hold on, real quick before you answer that question. Dev, did you finish up on that final one? I'm about to replace you with my man OJ.
I just had one more question, but
did you wrap up your East?
Oh yeah, I wrapped it up. I just wanted to ask if you top 5 is solid.
Top five in the game today?
No, all time is solid.
My top 5.
My top 5. I was gonna tell you my top 5. I want to see if it's valid or not to you.
Right. Who is it?
Drop it there.
I got Jordan, Bron, Kareem, Shaq, Magic.
Okay. I think Shaq is a little high. I think Chamberlain was better than Shaq, but I don't have a problem with Shaq being the top 5 player. I would have liked to have seen Shaq be a better rebounder, be a better defensive player, be a better rim protector. I would have liked to have seen him be that more. I think that had he taken better care of himself, and he'll tell you that to your face, had he taken better care of himself, the GOAT debate, I don't think we would even be having it, because it would be Shaq and then it would be everybody else. I don't think it would even be a question, to be quite honest with you.
Appreciate you.
So,
you can drop me down, big.
Absolutely. Louis, to answer your question, when I was a kid, I was a big time Michael Jordan fan. I was a big time Joe Dumars fan. I couldn't stand the sight of the bad boys, but I watched them strictly because of Joe Dumars. I was a big Joe Dumars fan because of his mid-range game, the way he defended, and how tough he was. I started watching Joe Dumars, and I did everything that I could to emulate his game. Jordan was another one of my guys that I was a big fan of, that I watched a lot to emulate his game. I was a big James Worthy fan. And James Worthy and Dominique Wilkins, those were the 3 guys. Those were the 4 guys that I was huge fans of, those guys when I was a kid. But
so you would say that they're the names that created the player that you became?
I was trying to be that. I was trying to be. Those are the three guys that I was trying to be like more than anything.
Right on. That's fine. Well, shit, Louis, appreciate you for stopping by. Those are some valid questions. Super valid questions.
Appreciate your time. Hey, go follow the channel. New video dropping soon. 1,000 subs, and I'm flying to England. IRL podcast with Mars. Love, PC family.
Absolutely, brother. Good to talk to you.
Get your big oaks shit merch, man.
Absolutely. No doubt.
Have a good one, Louis.
See you, fellas.
Deli Dale.
What up, Deli Dale?
What's happening, y'all? What's happening?
Real quick, before you drop your questions or whatever beef you might have, before you blow that smoke off your chest, let me bring up OJ Did It and raps in 6 real quick. We're gonna bring all 3 of y'all up.
Yo, how y'all doing, man?
What up?
What's up, y'all? What's going
on?
Yo.
What's poppin', guys?
Oh, not much. Deli Dale, what's the deal?
What's going on? I got no smoke really. I just have a question for Chill and really Ox, if you want to weigh in on it too, then that's great too. I specifically want to ask Chill because I know that he has a great amount of respect for these 2 people, and he also watched their careers themselves. I think I already know your answer, but who do you have between, and this comes because I've been in a lot of recent debates with some older heads that aren't as respectful, but who do you have, or I guess I should say, why do you have LeBron James over Larry Bird?
Why do I have James over Larry Bird?
That's a dumb question.
Chill out.
Why do I have Larry Bird? I think that, no, it's valid. It's absolutely valid. The reason why I have James over Larry Bird, number one, he was a better athlete. Not only was he a better athlete, I think he had a better skill set. And in the process of him having a better skill set, he also did more on the basketball court. I think Bird was a better rebounder than him. I will tell you that. I think he was a slightly better long ball shooter. I don't think he was a much better long ball shooter than James, but I do think he was a better long ball shooter than James, no doubt. I don't think the gap is like this, but I do think he was a better long ball shooter than James, no doubt about that. I will tell you that.
The gap was like that, Chill Town.
But with that being said, Bird being the clutch player that he is, he was awesome. But James was just as good, if not better, in the clutch. A lot of people, when they think clutch, they think of guys just making buckets. Clutch is a whole bunch of different things. Clutch is a guy coming up with a big steal, making a big pass, getting a big stop on defense. Clutch isn't just a guy knocking down a shot in order to win the game. Clutch is a bunch of different things. And I think that James surpasses Bird in that aspect. As a forward, I think he was a better passer than him. I think he was a better defender than Larry Bird. I think he did more as a whole than Larry Bird did. And I think that he was not only was he an overall better player, but I think that with the units that he was on, I think that he did more.
I appreciate that because I specifically wanted to get an answer from some, because every time I ask the old heads respect Larry and hate LeBron, and it's vice versa when I ask my generation. So I know you got big respect for both of them. And
I love Larry Bird. Oh, no doubt about that. I don't like Larry, but I love Larry Bird. I think, and it took me a long time for me to go, yo, James is better than him. It wasn't like I saw James and was like, James is better than him. No, it took me a long time for me to come to the conclusion that James was better than him.
That was a good question, though, Deli.
Yeah.
What's up, OJ?
Appreciate it.
What we got going on, bro?
What's good, my guy? What's good? Hey, man, I just wanted to say, I wanted to give LeBron James his flowers for, what he did last night, becoming the all-time leading scorer and really showing his greatness and the longevity. He's the greatest player along with the longevity, hands down.
OJ, real quick, before you keep going, OJ, let me ask you a quick question before you keep going. And I hear it a lot of times, why is being good for a long time a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing at all, man.
I hear people say all the time, yo, that's a longevity stat, or that you only did that because I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't that a staple for being great when I'm able to do something great for a long time? I never, that's why I'm asking you that, because you brought up longevity. So
yeah, definitely. And then you got to give LeBron James the flowers, man, because when it comes, he's the greatest when it comes to getting his points through the offense, you know what I'm saying, and creating his own shots. I don't think he's the greatest at creating his own shots. Now, I want to be specific at that.
Right.
But I just wanted to ask you, Chill Town, what do you have LeBron James on your all-time scoring list?
Number 2, behind Jordan.
And what made you come to that conclusion?
Number 1, his consistency and his ability to score. Not only his consistency, how he expanded his game, where when he first came into the league, all he was a freight train. I'm just bigger, faster, and stronger than all of you dudes. And then what he did was he added a mid-range to his game. He added a pull-up to his game. He added a stop and pop to his game. He added a post game to his game. He added all of this stuff to his game, which made him better and which made him even more consistent scorer and a more efficient scorer, as opposed to where he would just settle for just being a downhill scorer. See, when the game started to change, like when Curry and James Harden, Damian Lillard, and these guys showed up and they started expanding the game, James, if you notice, he started shooting the long ball more. So I got to get better at that. And the reason why I got to get better at that is because this is the way the game's going. I can't continue to just go downhill. The reason why I can't continue to go downhill is because as good as I take care of myself and keep my body in shape, I'm not going to hold up if I keep taking that beating.
I'm glad you brought that up. You had said that LeBron James, he had developed his mid-range game in the long ball. What year do you think LeBron James started developing that?
I'm going to say at his peak was 13. I think at his peak 13 was when he basically had it down, and he pushed it out a little further from 15 to 7. I think he pushed it out to about 18, 19 feet. I ain't even talking about the long ball. I'm just talking about the mid-range. He pushed it out to about 18, 19 feet, around 17, 18, where he had that down. Yeah. But up until that point, I think that he was good at it. Like, he could knock down the mid-range shot, but it wasn't something that was consistent that he could just go to.
And that's what I agree with you on that point right there. Like, the mid-range shot for LeBron James was never really consistent. I agree with you in 2013. That was the year where LeBron James really started, broadening out the mid-range and the three-point. I think that was the best year he shot, three-point wise, was 2013. But he was not consistent. LeBron James was not consistently had a consistent, mid-range and three-point shot. And that's why teams like the Spurs and teams like the Boston Celtics were able to game plan against LeBron because they used to go up under the screens. They never faced up on LeBron.
They turned up the heat in the arena,
they
man.
used to let him shoot. They would want LeBron James to shoot. And when those nights LeBron James was not on, they were his teams were very easy to beat.
What do they call that today? I think they call that drop coverage today. Yeah. I think they call that drop cover. I think they call that drop coverage today. But keep going. I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
Yeah, when they went up under the screens because they weren't finna go over the screens and then try to create some type of play for LeBron James to make a pass or try to go to the basket. Yeah, so they went up under the screens to try to keep the whole defense in front of LeBron. And that kind of worked in their favor with the Spurs and the Celtics. And that's why I really can't rank LeBron as an all-time great scorer because I got one question. When you think about the all-time great scorers like Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, those guys had unstoppable offensive moves. They had unstoppable offensive game.
Who's guarding a LeBron James drive? Who?
You said what?
Take the drive off the table for a second. Keep going, OJ. Hold on.
We know
for a second,
LeBron James is one of the greatest at attacking the basket. But I just brought up
that's his thing.
Some great defenses that showed you that they can take that away from LeBron James and they can neutralize him.
How you feel about that?
LeBron James, what is LeBron James go-to? What is his go-to offensive move? What if it's his unstoppable shot?
Okay, hold on, OJ, hold on. Let's do one question at a time, bro. Let's do one question at a time. So what's your question to Chilltown or Raps and Six? He obviously got a rebuttal for you. So what you feel about that?
Like you said. Now I'm glad you brought that up, my man. When you talk about that being consistent, that's when he became consistent in 13. And not only did he become consistent in 13, he expanded that. That's why he was able to get past teams like the Raptors. That's why Giannis wasn't able to get past them because after him getting past Kawhi Leonard, they had that wall built up. Right after Kawhi Leonard, they built that wall up where now Giannis can't get to the basket and he has to resort to running his pull-up game. But he didn't have that in his game. James had that in his game where James could knock down that 17-footer. James had that in his game.
You brought up Giannis against the Raptors, though, and we know Kawhi Leonard was the one who was guarding Giannis.
Right.
It was actually
Siakam in Toronto when it came to LeBron James.
I'm glad you brought that up too, OJ.
Never had an on-ball defender.
Kawhi was unhelped. I watched every game of that series, boss.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up too, my man, because if you watched that series when they played against Toronto, one-on-one without the wall, so whether it was in transition or whether it was something quick,
the wall was there. The wall was there.
Right. Whether the wall was there or not, whether it was in transition or it was something where it was a one-on-one with Kawhi Leonard, Giannis couldn't really. I mean, Kawhi Leonard couldn't do anything with Giannis.
He couldn't do nothing the whole series.
He couldn't do anything with him. But once he got past him, the problem that we had was that wall slowed him right down, and he didn't have that pull-up, and he didn't have that in his game. James, on the other hand, did have that in his game. James, not only did James have that in his game, James also had where he starts in the mid post. And with James starting in the mid post, now he's expanding his offense where he's facing up 15 feet and he's knocking. So if that wall's there, even if Kawhi Leonard is in front of him, he's knocking down that 15-footer. He's knocking down that 17-footer.
Yeah, sure.
What you think, Raps?
Yeah, what do you call it? How about in the finals where we put Curry in a box and won? It's the same thing. Like we had a certain scheme for Giannis and we had a certain scheme for Steph. Steph is the greatest shooter of all time, and we put him in a box and won, and he couldn't do nothing. Nothing. He dropped 50 while Clay was gone, and that's it. He lost the series.
He dropped 47 in one of those games. Yes, he did.
47.
Yeah, he did drop 47 in one of those games. But with that also being said, when I think about James's game and I think about how much his game expanded, and not only how much his game expanded, when I think about what he did in terms of production, if you take James' name out of it, right, OJ, let's take James' name off the crew and let's go. This player is 27 a game for 15 years. How we talking about him?
We say he was great. He's a great player.
Hey, OJ, my man, I appreciate you coming up here. First of all, giving Brian his flowers and whatnot, having a good discussion. Appreciate you for dropping on. You always welcome, my man. I'm gonna move you out.
Appreciate you, OJ.
I'm gonna bring you back in. We got to move along on this. So I wish we had more time, but you know how it goes.
Yeah.
For For sure.
All right, bro.
y'all, man.
Appreciate you. Have a good
Absolutely,
rest of your
OJ.
day. Okay, my man, how you say your name? Kwabi?
Quabi, yeah.
Kwabi? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Nice to have you up here.
What's up, brother?
What's up? How are you?
Good.
We good. So you what's up? You got some questions? You
yeah.
gotta get off your chest.
I got a question.
You want to talk about Bron and the Lakers or
Yeah. I got a question for Elder actually. So
Elder.
oh, my bad. Chill Town, my bad.
his show was in a couple of days.
I was like, well, I'm about to say, where Elder? What's up, big fella?
No, but so I heard you earlier say that you didn't really like the potential trade that the Lakers were talking about with Utah and the Timberwolves, right? And I heard you earlier say that D'Lo isn't he's a ball dominant player. But I think when he was on Brooklyn, yeah, you could say that because I think majority of his points were like out of the pick and roll, ISO points and things like that. But I think Steve Kerr, the small tenure he had on the Warriors, really made him into a really good off-ball threat because he had him running like curl pin downs because he had to get him ready for playing with Draymond, Steph, and Clay in that system. Right. And I think he really excelled as like a catch and shoot kind of guy, as well as it helped with his ball movement whenever he wasn't getting that ISO play, you know, he would move around, curl, screens, all that stuff, and he was a lot better as a shooter. And I think now he's kind of inconsistent as a shooter, streaky because he's taking all these bad shots. But I think if he gets into the Lakers, you know, I think he'll be a lot more improved in that system. And I think what
about the Lakers system suggests that it was anything close to what they were doing in Golden State?
That's a good point, but I think he's playing with a great facilitator in LeBron James, and I think they'll be able to figure it out better than what he's doing in the Timberwolves right now.
Here's the thing, though: we haven't we already been down this block where we trying to figure it out? Like he tried to figure it out with Russ. Now we're gonna try to figure it out with this Russ too. I mean, James is getting younger.
I think it's easier to figure out with D'Angelo Russell though because he has the ability to shoot the ball way better than Russell Westbrook. So when he plays off the ball, I mean, you got to think about it. In Minnesota, he plays off the ball behind Anthony Edwards and Cat when they're playing. So it's not like he's in Minnesota with the ball in his hands a lot. He's also playing catch and shoot. So when you think about that, he's a way better three-point shooter than Russ. And you have said that, and he also averages like six assists this year. So he also has the ability to distribute it a little bit.
Right.
And the only thing, mainly what you lose with swapping them is obviously Russell Westbrook is a way better rebounder than him. But I feel like D'Angelo has the ability to fit with the Lakers off ball as well because he's played with people that he's played in a system that had him playing off ball, and he's playing off ball behind Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns in Minnesota as well right now. That's what I was gonna say.
The problem that I'm having with him in Minnesota is that he should, as an on-ball point guard, he should be a better distributor. With the guys that he's got running with him, with running with Anthony Edwards, they should get easier shots in transition in particular, which I don't understand why they don't get easier shots because you got athletes like Rudy Gobert, you got athletes like Anthony Edwards, you got athletes like Nas, you got athletes like this who are runners, and he doesn't get them easy shots. Now, do I like him playing off the basketball in Los Angeles? Not with that system, because that system isn't a system where the basketball moves like it did in Golden State, where people move like it did in Golden State. There's a lot of standing around and watching. So he's not going to be nearly as effective if he's just standing around and watching, as opposed to what he was doing in Golden State, which is a lot of ball movement. One thing that I found out in basketball is if the ball moving, people moving. And if people moving, that means that the defense is off balance. And I don't think that that's going on in Los Angeles.
That's a good point. What do you think about the other two players that were involved in that package, Vanderbilt and Beasley?
Oh, Vanderbilt was in that package as well? I didn't know that.
That's just rumors, but you never know with Rob Pelinka. He might screw the whole trade up and ruin the whole season. You never know. But yeah, the rumor is Russ and the picks. The rumor is Russ and the picks for Beasley, Vando, and D'Angelo Russell. I think they'll probably have to give up another player on the Lakers side personally, but that's just a rumor that I saw on Twitter.
So who goes to Minnesota? Russ goes to Minnesota.
Russ goes to Utah.
Mike Conley goes to Minnesota.
Mike Conley goes to Minnesota.
I love Mike Conley in Minnesota. I love him. I love Mike Conley. I would rather Mike Conley in New Orleans because I think he's perfect for what they're doing in New Orleans. He's the lead guard that they're missing. But I also like him in Minnesota too. And the reason why I like him in Minnesota is because what he does now is as a primary ball handler and a distributor, because Mike Conley, this season, Mike Conley averaged the most assists that he's averaged in his career. Not only does he average the most assists that he has in his career, he's also the most efficient in assist to turnover ratio this season. So if he's running with bigs like Cat, if he's running with bigs like a rim runner like Rudy Gobert, which he did when he had him in Utah, when he's running with an athlete like Anthony Edwards, I think he could get these guys. I think it bolsters their transition game, and I think that it makes them better. I much rather him in New Orleans because he wouldn't have to score. And I think CJ plays so much better off the basketball. I'm not really sure that there's a quick fix in Los Angeles. So if you're going to add Vanderbilt and Beasley, what's going to happen to Rui? What's going to happen to because it seems like what they're doing is they're trying to get back Kuzma and bringing in Van something like that. That's what it seems like the effect is they're trying to get these guys back when this team is built around running the offense through Anthony Davis, who doesn't look like he's happy with what's going on right now.
Yeah, that was going to be another question I asked you. What did you think about how his performance last night and all the reports he wasn't really happy with their performance last night? Because me personally, I think part of them losing was his fault and how he played in the fourth quarter. But
absolutely, no doubt. But that's not just you. He looked disinterested the entire night.
He has a tendency to disappear.
He looked disinterested. I'm watching this dude early, and I'm thinking to myself, "Where are you?" Because he wasn't in Los Angeles last night. He was not in the Staples Center. He was somewhere else last night. And I'm watching this, and I'm thinking to myself, if you're not going to be engaged, this is a big game, Gabe. Right? Just so you know, Oklahoma City is ahead. Oklahoma City is ahead of the Lakers in the standings by a half game. Minnesota lost yesterday. So if you guys win, not only do you go up in the standings, now this is a momentum game. So for these guys to be as disinterested as they were, now I understand the magnitude of last night, but that should have bolstered our performance. Not only are we going to get James closer to this, James shouldn't have had to go for 36 last night.
And ironically enough, to me, the only person that I felt like wanted to win the game in the fourth was Russell Westbrook.
Exactly.
He was playing a hell of a fourth quarter yesterday. And I don't understand where Anthony Davis from the tip, I don't understand where he was at. Like he was on the bench, he looked dead. Even when LeBron passed Kareem, he looked like he wasn't like engaged in anything. Now, in the fourth quarter, he was nowhere to be found.
Just so you know, tomorrow against Giannis, he's going to be 40 and 20.
Tomorrow it's going to be like it's the NBA Finals. But.
Right, tomorrow he could get Giannis 35 and 15.
Against Josh Giddey, he can't buy a bucket, which is
he can't get a bucket.
No, I don't understand. It's so confusing to me because when he plays against players like Giannis, Joel Embiid, it's like he's a top 5 player. But when he plays against cats like Ivica Zubac or Josh Giddey, he looks like a role player. I don't understand what it is with Anthony Davis.
He looks like Kwame. He looks like Kwame.
I don't understand it.
Where you at, brother? Where you at? So, all right, guys, it was good to talk to you. I appreciate you guys.
Wait, one more question.
One more. What you got?
Gotta get it going.
So apparently the story is Russ. If he gets traded to Utah, they're always going to buy his contract out.
Right.
Do you like Russell Westbrook on the Clippers as their point guard, moving on from John Wall?
He's just a glorified John Wall, in my opinion.
I still think he's better. I think he's better than John Wall as a facilitator at these stages of their career for sure, and he adds rim pressure to that team as well, in my opinion.
I don't love him in Los Angeles.
I don't know because
I'm not seeing that, my man.
I'm not loving it. I'm not gonna lie. Because he does a lot. Even watching on the Lakers, he does a lot of standing around too. Whenever he has the ball, he just sits on the wing for like 10 seconds.
Which isn't his game, by the way. That's not his game. That's not Russell's game. So. All right, guys. Good to talk to you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Gabe. Thanks for stopping by.
Yes, sir, Bobby.
Appreciate it, y'all.
Thank you.
Right. We always welcome. Always welcome.
Absolutely, brother.
Yeah, man, that was fire. So chill.
Yeah, no doubt.
I got a couple super chats left.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to get a little deeper. You know, I always want to let the people get to know you a little better.
Word.
You know? So if you don't mind, you know, before we get to the super chats, let me do a little something else because you know, just like last week, like what we did with what you call like the water association. Let me do a little bit more, not that, but let me ask you a couple questions. So chill. Let's say that you could be the GM of any team in the NBA right now. We're talking about a 5-year deal. You know, you get paid the same no matter what team you choose. What team would you like to be the GM of right now in the NBA?
I love that Cleveland team, man, how young they are, the upside to them, and where they're going. I love what they put together, and I think that they could keep that thing going. If I was the GM, I'm definitely keeping that thing going in Cleveland, or New Orleans, because I'm getting us a lead guard if I was in New Orleans.
Okay.
And
Who's it gonna be? Pick one.
The lead, the New. If I'm a GM, I'm the GM in New Orleans, because I think that they're a lead guard away from really challenging in the Western Conference. And if I'm the GM in New Orleans, Mike Conley was the guy that I was after.
Right.
Mike Conley was the guy that I would have been after. He was the guy that I feel like we plug him in. CJ can play off the basketball where he's the most effective. BI can be the scorer, continuously be the scorer. Zion could continuously be the transition player, because Mike Conley would speed the game up. And I think that you got a consummate backup in Alvarado. And looking at the contracts, I think that with the contracts that these guys are under, and I'm talking about my rotation guys like Herb Jones. I know those guys are still on rookie deals, so I still have some time with guys like Trey Murphy, and Herb Jones. So I still got some time to build with those guys. So if I had one team, it would probably be New Orleans.
Okay, 5-year contract. You say New Orleans. Okay, so now if you could be the coach of any team in the NBA besides New Orleans, which team would you rather coach?
I love what they're doing in Cleveland, man. I do. I think that Cleveland team has an opportunity, with the exception of Donovan Mitchell. Nobody on that starting five is 25 years old. They got a bunch of kids. Only they got a bunch of kids. Those guys they have a tremendous upside.
And
right?
K-Love too.
K-Love in the rotation. I'm talking about in the starting five, right?
So, right. Okay,
I'm just talking about the starting five, right, Big Op? When I think about that unit, right, I think about how much they can expand, how much better Mobley can get, right? How much better Allen can get, how much better Darius can get. So I'm looking at this unit and I'm thinking to myself, man, this team looks like, and not only how much better they look, how much faster we would play, right? Not only how much faster we would play, how much more I would get out of Donovan Mitchell defensively, how I would demand that he play defense more. I don't have a problem with his offense, because that's what scorers are. Scorers are guys who shoot. You don't score unless you shoot the basketball. So he has to be that guy to shoot the basketball. So I would have no problem with that. But I would demand that he defended, especially with those two bigs behind him. I would demand that he got better defensively. I love what they're doing in Cleveland. I would love to be on that bench, no doubt.
Great answer. So you would be the GM in New Orleans, be the coach in Cleveland.
Yep.
Now, Chilltown, if you could play for any team in the NBA right now, besides New Orleans and besides Cleveland, and you play the shooting guard, right? So which team would you rather play for?
If I could play for one team in the NBA, and
besides
I'm
New Orleans or Cleveland,
and I'm the two guard, and besides New Orleans, besides Cleveland, wow, that's a good one, man. Toronto. Yeah, Toronto. When I think about their two guard situation, because I was trying to become that. I wasn't that good, but I was trying to become that. And if I could have become it, I think that they are a shooting guard away like that, like with Van Fleet running in the backcourt with him, being a defender, being a mid-range shooter, and then you got Scotty Barnes or OG, and then just with that unit, you could definitely plug a really good two guard in. To help bolster that backcourt, no doubt about that.
I can see that. That's some good answers. That's something to think about. So you said you were GM in New Orleans, coach in Cleveland, and play in Toronto. Okay,
no doubt.
That's fire.
No doubt.
Let's get back to some of these super chats.
Let's keep these out. Let's do it.
We are on the schedule, y'all.
We got time. We got some time.
Okay, right on. I saw Rated R in the chat. I know he said he has some smoke for you. Man, let's see if we can if I can get him the link. You got time for Reddit R after these?
Yeah, man, bring it.
Let me see if I can let me see if I can get that link to him. I don't got the contacts, but I could get it done. Let's see about these super chats. Xavier NYC, this is fire. Chill. You like my favorite old head out of all the panelists. Keep speaking that knowledge.
Thanks, brother. We do what we can, my man. No doubt about it. We do what we can.
Let me see. Next one from Clutch City, Chilltown. Who's winning 5v5 Steph, LeBron, Clay, KD, and Embiid against MJ, Magic, Carl, Hakeem, and Larry.
So when I think about this first five that you talked about with Steph, LeBron, Clay, KD, and Embiid, the first thing that I think about is I think about ball movement. Steph's going to be moving off the basketball. Clay is going to be moving off the basketball. That means that this group, MJ, Magic, Hakeem, Larry, those dudes are going to have to guard. And Magic and MJ are going to have to guard on the perimeter. Wow, we got a lot of action off the basketball, right? So that's going to be tough for them. Now, the thing that I think about with Steph and Clay and Embiid, that's going to be a problem that MJ has. I think that they kick these dudes' ass on the backboard. With Larry, Malone, and Hakeem, I think that they destroy them on the backboard. I think that they have to be super efficient offensively because it looks like MJ and Magic teams is going to hold them to one shot and one shot only because they look like they're better in the front court, just in terms of rebounding alone. Interior defense and rebounding alone. So if I had to pick between the two of these, I think that Magic team, I think that they hold them down defensively just because of their front court, and I think that they could beat them.
That's solid. I would have to agree with that as well. Let me get this next one up. Jose Primo. Shout out Big Ox. You working today, bro?
There he is, ain't he? He doing it, ain't he?
That's my man Kenny.
Ain't he doing it?
Hey, for Player's Choice, I do 24/7 for Player's Choice.
He doing it. He doing it.
From Shums. Lakers need to sit it out. They've got 2 years left with Bron and AD. Tying themselves up with more subpar fits is another recipe for disaster.
I just don't understand what the plan is, man, because, again, the way that this team is constructed, Ox, this team is constructed to play through AD. It's not constructed to win the NBA championship playing the way they play. And there is no quick fix, man. There isn't.
Yeah. I mean, it takes time, you know. It takes time. You can't just expect it to happen overnight. That's not realistic. Okay, one more. Let me see. Put it on vinyl. Ox and Chill. What are some words / quotes that have stuck with you guys? You got anything?
Yeah, Maya Angelou told me, and she wasn't speaking to me specifically, but she said, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
Right. So there's a lot of quotes, you know, just a real life things that have stuck with me. But for basketball, I would say what stuck with me is these words: if you can't run, you can't hoop.
You can't help us.
If you can't run, you can't hoop. That's something. That's one of my favorites because it's just you know, it just shows we really gotta get out there, get in, you know, get on these sidelines and run, get out there and get open.
What you doing out here if you can't run?
Man, you know, a lot of guys. Okay, one second, Chill Town. If you got time for Rated R, I can get him up here.
Yeah, get him up here.
Okay, let me send this real quick. Give me a couple of seconds, Sean. You know what though? If we got time, since we got time for that, let me do another little thing, another little exercise, if you will, with you. So while we get that out to Rated R and see if we can get him up here. You know, Chill, what's something I've had on my mind. So, you know, when it comes to draft classes, a lot of times people always talk about those same draft classes. There's 3 draft classes that stick with everybody's mind. And that's 03, 84, and 96. Those are the top ones. And so, for, you know, a guy like me, I want to see what about these other ones. So Chill. I got 5 draft classes up right here. I want you to drop 2 of them. Of these 5 draft classes, all I want you to do is just knock off 2. The 2 weakest ones, you tell me which ones they are.
Right.
So right here we got we'll start like this. The 2009 NBA draft class.
I think that's with John Wall.
No, that's James Harden.
James Harden, Westbrook.
It's James Harden, Steph Curry, Blake Griffin, and DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, and so then after that we have the 87 draft class: David Robinson, Reggie Miller, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, Kevin Johnson,
Reggie Lewis.
Yeah, it was stacked. Then we got the 85 draft class: Karl Malone, Patrick Ewing, Terry Porter, Detlef Schrempf,
Joe Dumars.
Joe Dumars, yes. AC Green. 98, Dirk, Pierce, Vince Carter, Antoine Jamison, Mike Bibby. And then we have the 1970 draft class, Bob Lanier, David Cohens, Calvin Murphy, Tiny, Pistol Pete. So 09, 87, 85, 98, and 70.
2 of them got to go.
2 of them got to go. That's all I need. 2 of them got to go.
That's a tough one right there, fam, because we'll start with that 70, right? So with Bob Lanier, Dave Cowan, Tiny. I mean, Tiny led the league in assists and scoring. Yeah. Calvin Murphy. I think that 71 has to go because they didn't have a lot of winners. They didn't have a lot of winners there. So when I think about that one, I also got to say, when I think about 98 with Vince, Dirk, and Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
As opposed to the 85 draft with Joe D and AC Green, Malone. I think that those were better players. And then the 98, so you got the 98 draft, 87 draft. Ooh. I can't drop the 87 draft with Pip and Reggie Lewis and David Robinson. Muggsy Bogues was in that draft too. Yeah. Kenny Smith was in that draft.
Derek McKee
was in that draft. I think the 87 draft got to come off. The 98 draft stays.
So 97 stays.
97 stays. I think
85 stays.
Nah. Oh my God. 85 with Malone and Joe Dumars.
Patrick Ewing. Detlef Schrempf.
That draft stays.
Okay.
I think 70 comes off. I think 85 stays.
85 stays, yeah.
87 with David Robinson and Scottie Pippen. I think they got to stay. That draft class stays.
85 stays,
87 stays.
What about 09? James Harden, Steph Curry, Blake, DeMar DeRozan, Jeff Teague, Taj Gibson, Darren Collison, Ty Lawson.
I don't think they were better than 98. I think they got to come off.
Okay. So 98 comes. So 09 and 70 are dropped.
Yes.
So we got 98, 95, 97. Those are the ones
so 85, 87.
And 98.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, chill. So now it's going. Now it's getting a little harder.
Yeah.
87, 85, and 98. Those drafts. Cut one, bench one, start one.
Well, you know I'm a big man guy. David Robinson was better than Ewing. So if I'm gonna start one, with the exception of Dirk, was David Robinson better than Dirk in his prime? No, that's tough. So I would have to start. I'm going to start the 98 draft. I'm going to bench the 87 draft. Actually, I'm going to bench the 85 draft. I'm going to cut the 87 draft.
Ooh, okay, so David Robinson, Reggie Miller, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, Kevin Johnson, they're cut.
Yeah. 85. I'm keeping Ewing, Malone, Joe Dumars, AC Green. No, I'm not. Flip that around. 85 is out. I'm keeping 87. Take that out, Big Ox. I'm keeping 87. 85 is out.
So 98 starts.
98 starts, 87 is on the bench, and 85 is out. Ooh, that was a tough one right there, y'all.
Yeah, yeah, I had to set up a little different, but I had to get
I
one.
Like it though. I like it. I do like it. No doubt.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, so they're getting ready. They're getting ready all together. Let me get another. Let me get these other super chats in. Yeah, that was tough. I was curious to see how you were gonna feel about that though.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, let me see. Super chat. Ox and chill. Oh no, we already did that one. My bad.
We just did that one.
We got that one out the way. Travis Weems, chill. Do the Warriors trade Wiseman?
You're not using him. And he's still in his rookie deal, which means you could probably get something good for him. So yeah. Absolutely. You already sent him down to the G League. You can probably get something for him if you moved off of him. Something substantial, too.
Okay, we got another one. Good looking, Travis. Appreciate you.
Hey, my bad, fellas. I just sent the right link to Rated R. Oh my God, I almost said OJ. OG. So he coming real soon. All right, fellas.
Dub C, what up?
I'm chilling, bro. How y'all doing?
Dub, you want, since you're here, you want to holler at Chill about anything?
What's up, brother? How you running, brother?
Good. Chill don't like being toxic sometimes, man. So I don't want to get him in that mood. He like chilling, and I love that.
Hey,
you know?
hey. I just know every time I see Dub, I know that, you know.
Yeah.
I gotta get ready whenever I see Dub. I know it ain't never. Yo, what's up? But no, it's always.
yeah. It's all love, though.
Put the boxing gloves on because I know I'm ready for a fight when I see him.
Yeah, I love what y'all doing. I heard Gabe sent me some trade rumors with Utah Jazz may acquire Russell Westbrook for like Mike Conley and like Malik Beasley. I actually like that trade for both parties. How you guys feel about that?
I think that they would end up eating. Utah is going to end up eating Russ's deal, and I don't think he'll play a minute in Utah. I like Mike Conley in Minnesota. I would rather Mike Conley in New Orleans. I think that he fits perfect for what they're doing because I think CJ's so much better off the basketball. Mm-hmm. That's why he was so much better in Portland when he played off the ball because he played with Dame. Now, the bucket getters that's in New Orleans, they wouldn't have to worry about getting those buckets because now you got yourself a lead guard who can distribute and keep those guys focused and keep them heady. Now in Minnesota, I think he speeds the game up. Not only does he speed the game up, I think he gets other guys easier buckets, which is what D'Angelo doesn't do, right? If you look at Minnesota, they should be a better transition team than they are. And the reason why they're not is because D'Angelo Russell doesn't get these dudes layups and easy buckets like they should in transition. Anthony Edwards gets out in transition. Nas gets out in transition. Gobert gets out, and these dudes run a lot, so they should be getting easier buckets than they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. I hear what you're saying with that. I agree with you with CJ too. I think the Pelicans need to move off of CJ and try to get somebody else. He has good trade value. I don't think it will be able to work with him, Zion, and Brandon Ingram.
Here's the thing, though, Dub. I don't want to move CJ. If I could keep him, I just need somebody to. I need a lead guard so he can play off the basketball because I don't think he's that good playing on the ball as he is off. That's why he was so good in Portland when he was playing with Dame because Dame was the primary ball handler.
100%. But then, I mean, if CJ's there, there's contract issues that's going to be coming in because you have to play CJ. On top of that, the defense he provides isn't that great. So it's like I'm gonna have like a score on there where Zion and BI could take mainly all of that scoring responsibility. It's like I don't really need CJ at that point.
Yeah.
But we got the man, the myth, the legend, Rated R. He got smoked with you, Chilltown. Oh man.
What a bit is
Rated R. What's up, bro?
What's up? Hey, I got a problem.
What's the deal? What you got? You got smoke or you got questions? You want to learn? Because look, you're gonna learn either way.
No. I know what y'all talking about. Listen, what I'm saying is that I got a question for Chill because
no. Say what you said the first time. He got a problem with me.
Yeah, I got a problem. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I got a problem. You know,
come on with it.
When the early assessments when we talk.
Dub, you sticking around or what?
I'll chill a little bit. I'll watch this. I'll watch this live in action.
The early well, what I heard you when the early assessment when we judging the player of a particular like Kawhi Leonard, right? And you use him missing games, you use him being injured, you use him not getting it done with the Los Angeles Clippers, and mainly injuries. To sit there and say that he can't be a top 5 player in the NBA, and also I think you initiated that, just continue to missing games as well. He's gonna be out the league. You made that statement before.
2 years.
Yeah. You said in 2 years that he's gonna be out the league. That is a crazy judgment on looking at a player on Kawhi Leonard who's been playing most of the games so far this year, and also just what he provides on both ends of the floor at elite way. I heard you sat there and said that you like elite two-way players as well.
Absolutely.
So I was seeing why isn't he that high on your list, and where do you have players like Kevin Durant? Because if you use the logic on him not playing games or him not playing most of the games and sit there and say Kevin Durant is in your top 5 when he's been missing the same amount of games?
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't.
Yes, he has.
No, he has not.
Yes,
no, he has not. He hasn't. In the last 3 in the last 3 years, in the last 3 years, that's different.
Chill. Over the last 3 years, chill.
In the last 3 years, okay, that's different.
Chill. Over the last 3 years, Kawhi Leonard has played more games than Kevin Durant. That is a fact, not fiction, right?
That's something different.
So if you use the logic on Kawhi Leonard, can't be a top 5 player in the NBA because he don't play enough, right? And you use that same logic on why Kawhi Leonard can't be this or be in the conversation as the best player in the world because he don't play enough. But you have guys like Kevin Durant who's not playing enough, who's missing games as well, who came back off a significant injury as an Achilles injury, right? Played 35 games and continue to miss games as well. Last year, he missed over 20 games as well. And then the year before that, he missed over 25 games as well. And people still have him as a top 5 player in the NBA. It's just like, it just shows you that y'all judge players differently. And I don't get that. So can you explain it for me, please?
Okay, so we going off of what Kawhi Leonard did over the last 3 years. And we were talking about an era. So KD, where he is right now, KD is on the other side of who he used to be. Kawhi Leonard is still supposed to be on the other side of his prime. Kawhi Leonard is 30 years old, 31 years old, something like that. Not close to what Kevin Durant, who in September will be 35. So in the last 3 years, these two guys are in different spaces. That's number one. Number two, when Kawhi Leonard, from when he came into the league, from the time he came into the league up until I think when we just got finished talking about those 3 years, Kawhi Leonard hasn't played as much as Kevin Durant. Not only has he not played, I'm a big two-way guy, no doubt about that. But his availability has always been in question. His game has never been in question. Number two, I never said anything about Kawhi Leonard not being a top 5 player. I think Kawhi Leonard is a top 5 player when he's available. The problem is that when he's not available, he's useless. Your best ability is your availability. I think when Kawhi Leonard is available, you can make a legit argument he is a top 5 player. But the problem is that he's not available nearly as much as he should be.
So do you have Kevin Durant as your top 5 player?
And today?
Yes.
I don't think Kevin Durant is a top 5 player today.
Last year, did you have Kevin Durant?
No, I did not think that. No.
The year before that, did you?
No, I didn't think that. No, I didn't think that.
So because that's crazy because the consistency around the NBA was that Kevin Durant was arguably the best player in the world last year.
So let me make sure we're clear. Hold on. Let me make sure we clear on this. Kevin Durant, I can't say that Kawhi Leonard isn't available when I watch Kevin Durant, who in the 1920 season, missed the entire season. Then in 2021 season, missed half the season. And then last year broke down again and missed, I think, 30 games. I'm having a difficult time with the logic that a guy is a top 5 player when you're not available over a 3-year span like that. Now, he's been more available in previous years because he didn't break down. Kawhi Leonard, on the other hand, has a history of breaking down throughout the course of his career.
Okay, so you said that he has a history of breaking down. Well, outside, I would say San Antonio, where he had, I believe, that quad injury, which he was missed over the year. Kawhi Leonard, I say over the last 7-8 years has had one significant injury, just like Kevin Durant, right? But that's why I'm just talking about the term of consistency. Like the consistency is that Kevin Durant is a top 5 player. That's the consistency around the media, the players, the fans, that he's a top 5 player. I'm just saying that the fans in the media, for say, put this label as Kawhi Leonard is injury prone. He can't be a top 5 player because he don't play enough games. But on the other sense, people. But on the other sense, people
I'm
don't.
Here. I just muted my mic.
On the other sense, people don't use that same logic for Kevin Durant. That's the problem I had, and I think you fall in that line too. Because
no, I do not.
Because
no, I don't.
Because at the end of the day, if we're going to judge somebody that don't play enough games to sit there and say he ain't no top 5 player, and then give another player like Kevin Durant a pass, or other players that don't play the back-to-backs, because this league, superstar players, elite level players don't consistently play back-to-back. So what I'm saying is that that's the I don't like the judgment of when we judging a player different to what we judging somebody else. because Kawhi Leonard has been playing more games than Kevin Durant as well. And then when you look at what he's providing on both ends of the floor as elite, where it's very historically weird that we get somebody that is elite offensively and is elite defensively. If you look at over the last month and a half, where you sat there and said, which I think it was a crazy take when you sat there and said that he's going to be out the lead in the next 2 years.
I think he's going to be out the lead in the next 2 years.
It's insane.
I don't think he's going to hold up.
Because when we're looking at Kawhi Leonard, he hasn't lost a beat. I mean, I remember people sitting there and called him washed. I remember people sitting there and said
his game is not in question. His game isn't in question. So let's dead the logic of this, because what you're arguing is you're arguing two different things, Rated R. That's number one. I'm arguing Kawhi Leonard, I don't think his body is going to allow him to play 2 more years. His game, his talent is not in question. I think his body is the issue, and I don't think he's going to hold up.
Had that same judge? Did you have that same judgment for Kevin Durant? Do you think
absolutely? In fact, I said that a year ago, and I got roasted when Kevin Durant was playing at the level that he's playing now. He was doing that last year. Then he got hurt, and I asked the question very simply. I said, are we seeing the beginning of the end of KD? No, KD's not over. What are you talking about? I'm like, listen, the dude will be 34 years old. He's starting to break down. He already had the injury last year. He already had the hamstring injury that kept him out the entire season. The year before that, he was recovering from the Achilles injury. So he had all of these injuries. And now here we are again. He's been out. They're talking about him not coming back until after the All-Star break. That'll be 2 months that he was out. I don't know if Kevin Durant's body's going to hold up that much longer. I don't. I wouldn't be surprised if he was gone in the next 2 years. I would not be. I think that he holds up a little bit more than Kawhi Leonard. And the reason why I feel like that is because we did the same thing with Kevin Durant. We did the same thing with Kawhi Leonard.
We didn't do it with Kevin Durant. When Kevin Durant missed the whole year with the Achilles injury that was more significant than what Kawhi Leonard had, which was a torn ACL. The man tore his Achilles. Coming at that following season, the consistencies were that he was a top 5 player in the NBA, bro. Mm-hmm. Especially him missing a year and a half.
Correct.
Kawhi Leonard, on the other hand, missed a year. Yeah. And what it was an ACL injury.
Yeah.
The consistencies were he can't be no top 10 player. He can't be no top 5 player because he hasn't played enough. But on the other hand, Kevin Durant, people still have Kevin Durant, the consistency. I'm not saying what you think. I'm talking about the consistency around the whole basketball community that Kevin Durant is a top 5 player in the NBA. People just don't use that same logic and apply it to other players. People sit there and say,
read it off. Are we talking about what other people think or what you've heard?
I'm talking about the consistency. I'm talking about the consistency around the NBA. That's
give me 1 second, Redditor. Yo, Elder Rufus, I see you over here. You muted your mic. Do you have anything to add to this conversation? You want to tune into this, or you just want to wait for your own smoke?
I don't have smoke. I got something I want to discuss with Chill, but I don't have nothing to add to the Kawhi thing. No.
Okay. Well, Redditor, what about you, Dub? You got anything?
Before Redditor goes, and just so you know, like you just said, the consensus, my man, the problem that we having with that is Kawhi Leonard had that history. He started breaking down in San Antonio.
Name me one significant energy where he broke down in San Antonio.
Well, wait a minute. He missed half the season because of that degenerative knee.
No, what year was that? What year was that?
That was the year he got traded. The next year when he got traded.
That's
2018.
That's 1 year.
Then he was out the playoffs because of that ankle injury. And then he started to break down consistently when he was in Toronto. When they won the NBA championship, he only played 55 games that year.
That's not.
What do you mean that's not true? He played 55 games that year
because it was low management.
Just because played 55 games and he played in the playoffs and he was hurt.
But
this is not my opinion. This is a fact. I'm not sitting here saying anything. I'm telling you something that is a fact. He was hurt in the playoffs. That's a fact.
You sitting there saying that a man that's not playing back-to-backs, you got to understand that Kawhi Leonard that year was perfectly healthy throughout the whole year in Toronto.
Then why didn't he play more?
Because they tried to preserve Kawhi Leonard for load management.
No, they did.
Yes,
they did not.
Yes, they did.
Regardless,
he was hurt in the playoffs.
Okay, name me one injury then.
The knee injury. He was hurt in the playoffs.
He was
hurt in the playoffs.
No, but he played in the playoffs though.
And he was hurt. And they did a great job of preserving him.
No, but you sat there and
said he was hurt.
You sat there and said he was breaking down. He had multiple injuries and stuff.
Right.
So can you name the injuries in 18 and 19?
Okay, that degenerative knee plus the quad injury.
Okay, that's a medical condition.
What do you mean that's a medical condition? That's
No, you talking about
career. What are you talking about?
You talking about.
You're asking me a question.
I'm talking about naming the injuries that he had because you said
he has a degenerative knee, fam. This could end his career. What are you talking about?
Okay, listen, hold on.
And they managed it correctly. That's why he was able to play the amount of games that he played.
Hold on, fellas. Write it off. I see we are in an impasse here. We just gonna have to agree to disagree.
Okay.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree. I see you. That's you. You have some good points, each of you. Dub, if you want to add to this, feel free. If not, write it on. I'm gonna move on and let Rufus do his thing.
All right, man.
Appreciate you, write it on.
He said write it on. The talks on Kawhi and KD is like we have to treat Kawhi Leonard a little bit differently because he has a knee issue that gets worse year in and year out. I have a brother that kind of deals with the same thing. So it's like once you have a problem like that, then it's like it's going to be harder and harder for you to get back to yourself. While Kevin Durant, it's like he doesn't have an issue like that. He does get hurt, yes, but he doesn't have the same lingering issue that when year in and year out is getting worse and worse throughout his career. So that's the difference.
And I also think that when you just mentioned KD, the fact that he's now gotten older, whatever injuries that he has, they're going to be significantly worse simply because he's older. Like you just mentioned that your brother, something that's degenerative doesn't get better. We just got to manage it now. And that's what the story was with Leonard. With a degenerative knee, we can't just throw this dude out there every night because he's going to break down. That's going to happen.
It's about how long you could make that last for.
That's it.
It's harder and harder for you to reach the potential in which you were before, because this is something that you won't even have to be doing anything. Next year, it's going to be worse if he's playing or not. That's just what it is. Like, so we got to treat that differently.
Yeah, you see Shums tapped in, said Kawhi Leonard has a degenerate condition. 2 years is not crazy. Okay, Elder Rufus, what's up, my man?
Hey, salute, my brothers. How y'all doing tonight?
Running good, Rufus. What's up, brother?
I'm blessed.
Hopefully I'm not bringing up something y'all already discussed and covered. I've been on the road, so please forgive me. I'm getting in the show a little late. I was trying to get there on time, but I've been traveling. But I want an explanation because I got plenty of people contacting me, asking me what happened in the game last night. What were we actually watching? And I'm like, I don't have a better explanation for the people that are asking me what happened with those Lakers last night, beside the fact I saw a bunch of guys not want to play with a guy. I don't, and people say, well, do you got facts? I said, no, I'm not. I'm trying to get to some answers and all that, but I'm going by what I watched last night. I'm like,
it looked like a lot. It looked like a lot of disinterest. It did. It looked like a lot of disinterest. It did.
But it doesn't make sense though, because the energy, you could feel it through the screen.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of disinterest
in that atmosphere, and it's just normal adrenaline would get you so hyped just to be in that atmosphere and to see a whole team of professionals not care. What the hell's going on? Is that what y'all?
To be honest with you, Elder, I don't have anything more for you except the fact that I saw a disinterested bunch. That's what I saw. I saw a disinterested group that I thought would have been hyper to not only get James this record, the significance of that game. Yo, we trying to make the playoffs. And Oklahoma City is ahead of us. Minnesota lost yesterday. They was only a half. Oklahoma City is only a half a game. So we can make up some ground here. Not only can we make up some ground, we got Milwaukee coming in here tomorrow night. And they riding a 9-game winning streak. So there is no way that we can just lollygag through Oklahoma City looking past them. Anthony Davis looked more disinterested than I've ever seen him last night. Russ turning over the basketball. Now, don't get me wrong. They were trying to get James involved so they could get to where they were trying to get to. All right, I can get to that part. And James basically had a point where, yo, all right, I did what I can do. Take us home. And you and I had this conversation before, Rufus, about how many times James could look to Anthony Davis and go, yo, big fella, take us home. Because I got us here, take us home. Because he's at that point in his career where he should be able to do that. But I just saw a lot of disinterest last night, and this Laker team is very disappointing, man. They
two questions to add in here for everybody. Chill, Dub, Rufus. A couple questions I got. First, now that LeBron has actually broken the record since he's caught Kareem, passed him, where do they go from here? I know, Chill, you said that they suck. You know, you said how you feel earlier. But where does Bron go from here? Does it change anything for them if they finally got over that threshold, or is it just the same old thing? Or like
for the season?
Is it going to change? Yeah, for the season.
For the
Matter of fact, Dub, remember I asked this earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just curious to see, like, does Bron breaking the record change anything for the Lakers?
Listen,
in the style of play or anything?
I think that the Lakers, and I think the energy and atmosphere last year is just a good representation of that. I think they understand the caliber of team which they are. Chill, I know you've been high on the Lakers like all season. I don't see that team. The continuity isn't there. The chemistry isn't there. I don't think it's gonna be a long process for these guys to really get a feel of how to play with each other. And I don't really think they have that much time to figure it out. So I mean, the Lakers team with them being hurt. It's February already. The All-Star game's about to start. Playoffs start in a couple months, man. I don't think that they're gonna have enough time to figure this thing out. I think the Lakers do feel that. So everything that they do now, man, this is it's a waste of the season. And last night was a good representation of that. Like, these guys is playing ball, but instead of worry about winning the game, I mean, all the attention is on LeBron James to break that record, and the players is like, I'm just here for this man to break this record. Like, it is what it is. Like, I don't care about this game like that because this is his night, and that's what it was. Like, that's how I felt it was, and it is what it is. But this Lakers team, I don't think this Lakers team is. I think they know that this team is not going anywhere.
The other question I had, Chilltown and Rufus, let me ask y'all this. There's been reports of a situation between Russ and Darvin Ham. Apparently, Darvin felt like Russ was just lingering on the court after being subbed out, like he was kind of disinterested, and I guess Darvin had a problem with that. What do you guys think about
this
that?
thing is a mess, man. This thing is a total mess, and it's been a mess. You know who I am right now? I'm the father I got a whole bunch of crazy people in my family, and I can't see it. Everybody else is telling me, yo, your son is a drug addict. Yo, your daughter, she's lazy. I can't see it. I'm like, yo, she's going to get it together. He's going to get it together. Instead of going, yo, you're right. My family is dysfunctional. Wow. And that's what this thing is, a mess.
Yeah.
I think we've seen this before. And the time was recent when LeBron first came. Remember that year with all those younger guys they had? And when all of them went up on the trade block, you remember how they were gelling when they were fourth in the West before LeBron got hurt and everything? Then remember he came back, playoff mode, activate all this, but then all those guys.
You're talking about the ankle injury. You're talking about the ankle injury.
2019, right?
I'm with you. No. You're talking about when after they won the championship. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about before. This
2019.
Before they got AD.
Right.
And
so you talking about with the groin injury. Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you.
The groin injury. But remember, LeBron had all them dudes on the trading block for AD. Remember, Magic was willing to give up 8 of them just to get AD. And remember how them cats quit on LeBron? He was like, hey, I'm back now. I'm healthy. I'm in playoff mode. He ain't had nobody else in playoff mode, though. That team there seemed disinterested to play with him. And people blamed it on their youth because they say, hey, young guys, they can't really handle that. Professionals will be able to handle it. But that could be true to a degree. But when I saw with that team that year, I'm seeing the same thing with this team now. Now, again, these guys, a lot of them not over 30 and all, but they've been around for a little bit. I just don't see a team interested in giving max effort because let's keep it real. The Lakers weren't a top 5, top 10 defense, but they definitely weren't a bottom 5 defense. You know what I mean? When you watch them early in the year, these guys aren't giving any effort on defense whatsoever right now. No, everybody getting 130 against the Lakers. And I'm telling you, I agree with what Dub said. I mean, the year's essentially over. I mean, I'm happy for LeBron. He got the record. Congratulations. But the season has been a sacrifice, been a wash. And see, I had made a declaration that, I've been a Lakers fan since 79. I was like, I'm not on the Lakers this year. Remember, I said, I'm not even going to talk about the Lakers because I never saw the commitment from ownership even over the end of last year in the summer. And I said, if they're not committed, how can I expect front office? If the front office ain't, how can I expect coaches? If coaches aren't, how can I expect the leaders of the team with LeBron, AD, and all the veterans? And what I am watching is because starting at front office, there was no commitment to win. Now I'm seeing it trickle off, and that's the first level of leadership. I'm seeing it trickle all the way down to the lowest level of leadership, which is the players on the court, that no one is 100% committed to win. So this is how you can have such a momentous event last night. And like I'm saying, bro, that energy, you could cut it, bro.
Yeah. I saw it. You wasn't crazy, Alfred. You wasn't crazy, Elder. I saw it.
Elder Rufus, I got it. That environment.
I saw it.
And for these guys to look like they did last night, that is a team that has zero interest in playing, I believe, with LeBron or for the Lakers. I don't believe no one there, Genie Bus on down, is committed to winning, and this is what it looks like. Even with all that talent, this is what it looks like.
Elder Rufus, I definitely appreciate that input. You know, and I think we all see it. You're definitely not alone. But we do have to wrap this up here. Elder Rufus, Dub, thank y'all for stopping by.
What you got, Dub? One more thing. Just one more thing.
All right, Elder. Appreciate you.
Peace, Elder. Peace.
Appreciate you.
Be safe. Yeah, why couldn't your man get deliver the win though, bro? Why couldn't your man deliver the win? Come on, chill. Why? That's LeBron fashion, bro. You complete a lot, but you can't deliver the win. Like, why couldn't he deliver the win, man? Like, I gotta ask you that. I gotta ask you that.
36 wasn't enough?
36, and he got 2 points after he hit 36. That's
38, 38 wasn't enough. Damn, man.
Just saying, bro.
38, 30, and we playing against a better team, no doubt about that. We playing against a better team. But with that being said, they should have beat Oak. That was a terrible performance last night. I actually cut it. I didn't even know that they lost because I cut it off in the middle of in the beginning of the I think in the beginning of the fourth, because I watched Dennis Schroeder make a turnover that looked like something at the park. I was like, I'm out. I can't watch no more because I'm gonna rip this TV off the wall. I swear to God, I can't. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle. I'm like, yo, these dudes suck, man. How can you guys come out and play like this? This is ridiculous. I can't watch no more of this.
Dub, let the people know when you're going back on Open Gym.
When I'm going back on Open Gym? Tomorrow.
What's the next one? Open Gym.
12 Eastern time on Thursdays, 5 Eastern time on Fridays. Tonight we got Gridiron Bros. So you feel me? You know where to find us, baby.
Yes, sir.
Y'all get ready to tap in. Hey, Dub, good looking, man. Appreciate you for getting that link over the Reddit door. Thanks for stopping by, brother.
No doubt.
Y'all be easy.
Don't see. Be easy.
Right on. So chill. Before we get out of here, let me just blow through these quick super chats. I'm gonna read them real quick. If you got something to say, obviously, do your thing. If not, I'm just gonna keep it pushing.
Yep.
First one. Ill-minded. Ill-minded. OG. What 90s team in the Eastern Conference you can put LeBron on and they win the chip?
Detroit. In the 90s, Detroit, the Bulls. Let's see who else. Yeah, those two teams, Detroit and the Bulls.
Yeah, that's a good one. Let me see. Here we go.
Orlando too.
Orlando.
Definitely Orlando with Shaq. Sure. No question about that. With Shaq,
Shums came through for another one, my man. What do we think about Victor Wembanyama? Is he too light?
I think he's the future of basketball. Don't let the too light thing fool you. He's 18 years old. He's gonna fill out into a man. So don't let the 18-year-old thing fool you.
That's a fact. Is there an elite shooting guard or small forward that can play with LaMelo?
Yeah, you passed on him in the draft. His name is Cam Thomas.
Out of Phoenix, right?
No, in Brooklyn.
Oh, Cam Thomas. I'm thinking Cam Johnson. Yeah,
Cam Thomas. You passed on him.
Yeah, well, shit, that loss. Put it on vinyl, gotta say, what caliber player do you think these guys would be today in their prime? Monte Ellis, Isaiah Thomas, Al Jefferson, Jerry Stackhouse, OJ Mayo. Are these guys?
Monte Ellis roasts the NBA today. No question about that. He destroys the NBA today. Isaiah Thomas too. Now, what I don't want to get guys to get confused about who Isaiah Thomas was. Isaiah Thomas in Boston, he was a B player who had an A year. So let's not overrate Isaiah Thomas. I'm an Isaiah Thomas fan, but let's not overrate him. Al Jefferson, on the other hand, I think Al Jefferson would be awesome. Jerry Stackhouse would do whatever he wants. In terms of his
Jerry Stackhouse,
he'll do whatever he wants. OJ Mayo, I think you might have to add something with him because I'm not sure that the commitment was there with OJ Mayo.
Yeah, I don't think so. Last one, Kwabe. Appreciate you for coming up here, Kwabe. So LeBron got to drop 60 dub. AD at 13 points. That's a good question. I wish I would have read it while he was still up here.
Yeah, yo, that was wild.
Yeah. Well, Chill Town.
Yes,
Another
sir.
successful episode. It was a pleasure as always.
Yes, sir.
You got anything you want to leave the people with?
Hey man, this is where we are. You looking for us on a Wednesday night? This is where you can find us right here. Big Ox and myself. This is what we do on Wednesday nights, and we're gonna keep it rolling for as long as you guys hang around. We appreciate you and we love you. But until then, take it light to take it.
Right on. Let me say this real quick. You brought up Maya Angelou earlier. I want to just speak some words from her. Always words of wisdom. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude.
It's that simple.
Y'all keep it up, man. Love yourself.
Yes, sir.